Hi, and thank you for coming to our review of Music, the Movie by Sia. This is Autism Inside Out, and I am editing Kristy. I am here to give you a content warning about many bad things that are going to be happening in the movie and discussed by the hosts. These include talk and actually visuals of abuse, restraint, harmful stereotypes, domestic violence, death, suicide, drugs, and drug dealing. We also do discuss that Music has seizures and that could have caused her developmental delays or intellectual disability. This is meant more as a child that was maybe born due to drugs and has seizures from withdrawal, not a classic epileptic seizure condition that does not always obviously cause these things. We're just going off the mom was a junkie, maybe to explain parts of why they portrayed this person so poorly, in our opinion. Please remember, this is our opinion. We are one neurotypical and one autistic person who thought that this was a harmful movie with harmful stereotypes. If you found that this movie does represent you as an autistic person, I'm glad you feel represented, and please feel free to tell us respectfully in the comments below. Please do your best to enjoy our content about the movie, and we hope to see you over on Twitch for some live conversation. Thank you and have a great day.
Autism Inside Out. My name is Amber, and I'll be your autistic co-host.
And I am Kristy. I am your neurotypical co-host, and this is episode 4, In a Tunnel. We are going to talk about Music, the Movie by Sia.
It's so bad, y'all. Spoiler alert. It's so bad.
I think if Amber's okay with it, I was going to start with a little background
Please do,
where we are. So I have it on my phone, so I will be looking down. Not to ignore you.
I watched the movie, but I don't know anything about it, so
yeah,
please tell me.
That's kind of where I'm coming from. I researched where everything was and what we got, and then kind of did just a basic review of the movie as well. Okay, so obviously the movie came out on the 12th in the US. It came out in January in Australia. So far, I know that it had a $16 million budget. It has made around $600,000.
Nice.
So I'm ridiculously glad for that. And Amber and I did pay for it, which made me feel bad, but we shared it. So
yes, I refused to pay for it.
Yeah, because I was like,
Yeah, the only thing I know that it's gotten a lot of really bad reviews on autistic run groups. Everyone was saying it was ableist, garbage, and horrible, and that was the only thing I knew going in.
Yeah. So basically, Sia wrote this, and she got the help from a children's book author named Dallas Clayton. Neither Sia nor him are autistic or seem to have any autistic people in their lives that they ran this by. And then they decided to have, Maddie Ziegler do the main character when she was 14 when they filmed this in 2017. And her and Sia have a really odd relationship, which is probably a different story. But we do know that, Maddie is not autistic. And when she did an interview, she did say that she watched a bunch of videos of parents showcasing their kids' meltdowns and stuff to get into the role.
That was the one note I had. I found that on IMDb.
Yeah, which is really scary. I have a feeling that maybe she found some Autism Speak stuff too, which
I did hear that they were involved somehow as consultants or some shit. Because a lot of her stuff was like textbook autism.
Yeah. But textbook severe autism.
Right. Yeah.
Scooch you over a little.
Thank you.
Yep. So I think personally that this actually did not portray an autistic person at all. Because I think it more showed somebody who has developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities and has autistic traits or has autism and is intellectually disabled on top of it. That's kind of my personal viewpoint.
It was a big, I wrote the big like checklist of, it was like they just looked up like textbook stereotypical potential autism traits, and she just like did all of them, like including like the in-towing with walking, which you see in autistic kids sometimes, and I don't know like why that was so important that they have that, and some of the sensory issues and the importance of routine and the like same food trope and sensory issues and need for escape and limited speech. And
maybe you pick it up so you're talking this way.
Yeah, it was just it was like they were just trying to fit every stereotypical textbook. Like they just went through a checklist of here's what we think autism is. Let's do all of them and do all of them very dramatically.
Yeah. So I am going to share YouTube so we can do some still images, and then we'll talk about it from the beginning. Has anybody, I'm just curious, in chat actually watched the movie or seen the trailer or any of that kind of stuff? I did make my husband watch it. So that poor guy, he's had a bad week, and I made him watch this movie.
It was not very nice.
It wasn't very nice. And, I know it'll take a minute for anybody to respond. And I was just going to put it out here. We will not be here next Thursday. Amber's having surgery.
Yay.
And actually, I'm all frazzled and stuff because my husband's having surgery tomorrow, and which we found out yesterday. So we've had a fun week.
It's been a lot.
Yeah, but we really wanted to talk about this movie, so I felt like it was important that we still did this for people who are interested. Okay, this is what I was going to do. I was going to move. Okay, so music, yay! So exciting.
Turns out the chick's name is Music. That took me a while to figure out.
Yeah. Brian thought
I was like, does she have a name?
Brian thought it was a nickname at first.
Okay, it was like 20 minutes in before I figured out what the main character's name was, or why it was called. I guess I assumed it was called Music because Sia's a musician.
Yeah, I wrote these notes. The main characters are Music, which is the autistic girl. Her age isn't said, but she's supposed to be a teenager. I'm guessing an older teenager. There's Kazoo. We know them as Zoo. That is Kate Hudson's character. That is Music's older sister, and she becomes a caretaker after the grandmother dies. And then we have Ebo, which is the neighbor and love interest played by Leslie Odom Jr.
And because he's black, he has AIDS.
Yeah, well,
there's all kinds of stereotypes. It was like every stereotype she could think of. She made sure to shove it in this movie.
Yeah, super exciting.
Yeah.
So, really quickly, we got those. So, I said, the movie opens, we see for a brief moment, Music getting dressed. And she's putting on the same clothes that she wears every day. And then as she's getting dressed, she starts hitting herself in the leg. And I was guessing they were going to try this as a stimming kind of thing. And she's grunting just to show that I guess she is nonverbal. And then from that moment, it immediately transitions to this super colorful dance scene.
That was a sensory absolute nightmare.
Yes.
It was awful. I hate it. Like, I was already super uncomfortable just from watching her and seeing how, like...
Yeah, movie tropes the movie, yes.
Yeah. She was, like, so... over the top and like the pseudo
a little bit,
autism bullshit, and then like to jump right into the musical numbers, which were all horrific. They were so colorful and so busy and so loud and so chaotic.
The flashing lights.
They were so awful.
The first dance scene starts with in bright yellow with music. There's excessive blinking by Maddie's character.
She like
Music.
keeps all her weird tics that they decided are like super important to autism.
Even in her dreams.
And she had like this really weirdly pronounced overbite. Like, I don't know why she had to have the most god awful, ridiculous overbite I've ever seen in my life.
What's that movie with?
I mean, like, I had braces as a kid. I had a little bit of an overbite, as most people do, but, like, it was like a jaw-dislocating looking amount of overbite that was apparently a very important bit of autism that she had the whole time, was just this really weird, dramatic overbite. Yeah,
everything is super bright in this dance sequence. You could see in all the dance sequences.
It's so much.
Yeah, she has like headphones that are made out of different things because I guess that's how she sees herself.
Well, that's her sensory thing. She always has headphones on.
Which we'll talk about later. I mean, look
like
at that face.
My first thought with the braids is I was like, oh, we're going for cultural appropriation right off the top.
Yeah. It's really bad. The whole point of the movie was to showcase an autistic girl living life. That was the whole point. And it makes zero sense to me because in her fantasies, everything is so overwhelming.
It really is.
Over the top.
And the movie didn't feel to me so much like it was about understanding the autistic character as it was how much of an inconvenience she was for the alcoholic character.
Yeah,
like she just seemed like
Brian says this movie isn't about music at all.
No, because it never explored her thoughts or her feelings. Because I guess we're just assuming that she can't have feelings because she's nonverbal. There's some overbite going on.
Some overbite. So yeah, I think we're in this movie. I think that maybe at the heart of it, it had the right concept, like showing somebody with issues, whether it be sensory, developmental, physical issues, living life and being like a person and still being okay. I feel like that's what maybe she was going for.
Well, and that first song was about her body failing her and not wanting her body to fail her.
Yeah, I was saying, and also, my imagination sets my spirit free were some of the words in the first musical number. So I said, when I was reading with it, first I thought, even the most extreme autism cases that they're trying to show here, this isn't just autism. This is definitely intellectual disability.
Absolutely.
With autism, because it's just not, it just isn't. This isn't how even just severe autistic people would behave, because they're not childlike in that way. They are still mature, even if they don't communicate with words, I
just want to touch on Moira's comment real quick. I don't know that Sia's capable of understanding things like metaphors, so I don't think that's it at all. But I think she just
maybe
thinks in her head she wants everything to be bright and sunny.
Yeah, I think that I thought, okay, maybe at first I was trying to be really nice that, in real life, music doesn't like all these bright lights and stuff. So maybe in her imagination, where she can dance and be those things, she can enjoy that. But it also seems kind of
so much
counterintuitive, because even in her head and in her imagination, she would find that very bright.
A lot.
And
it was so much.
Yeah, it was. You can watch the trailer. I think even pretty much shows some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's probably enough of the movie for any.
Yeah, she does like the weird finger thing, which is odd. But the music they did, there's jump cuts, the 360 spinning. I was overstimulated as a neurotypical.
It was so much.
Yeah,
and I don't get why, like in the dance sequences, of which there were a lot in this movie.
It's a musical.
Apparently. I didn't know that going in.
It doesn't help knowing or not knowing, but.
Yeah, so like in those scenes, like her body functions normally, like she doesn't have the in-towing with the walking, and she's a dancer, but they still keep the really exaggerated facial movements, and I don't know why they chose to keep that part. Like, that didn't make sense to me. Like, would she still have the weird facial expressions and the overbite and the blinking and like all the really weird shit that like, I don't understand. So in her dreams she can, because like if they're saying she wants to be normal, which I'm guessing is the intention, I don't know why they would why she would want to keep the weird face stuff. Because it's watch it. I would never watch something like this voluntarily.
Well, I thought...
But I understand it's an important piece to discuss.
It came out recently, and I thought maybe if we can talk about it and give it like a really thorough review. I know not everyone's going to watch it or care, but maybe people who will like kind of watch this and then not give them money.
Fair.
On the sense of it. And because there's a lot of just newspaper articles saying it's a bad movie, but why is it a bad movie? That people didn't really go in depth yet. And since it was newer on the side, I thought we should probably cover this.
Sure.
And have it coming from all sides, how we feel about it. So I think that was the first dance number. Did you have any other notes about that?
No, up to that far, I just had that music's movements made me very uncomfortable.
They were very, very...
They were very hard to watch. And I don't like that autism is... Like, there's so few, if any, autistic media representations where people just have, like, a fairly normal intelligence range. Like, they're either a genius or they're profoundly... What's the PC term? I don't even know.
Profoundly disabled, I think, and that because at this point what they're showing is somebody with autism that is profoundly disabled.
Yeah.
As then that's it. Like they will never be.
Yeah, there's never anyone that's just like of relatively normal intelligence.
Yeah, like a normal just person. Like it's just like that's where, just like with anything else, most people live just as a normal human. Mm-hmm. And there are struggles that can be shown, and you don't need to be very intelligent or very developmentally or intellectually disabled.
Right, because like there's interesting neurotypical characters that aren't all either geniuses or extremely disabled. Like, right. You guys get to have like normal, like not normal, but like average IQ range people. And
okay, Moira said, I'm really fighting the urge to try and look for the good intentions, good representation, and artistic stuff because some of her music videos are really out there too. Right. And of course they all have Maddie in them. Evidently it's her muse.
She says that she sees her like a daughter. Yeah. I heard that someone had asked why she didn't use an autistic actress to play someone with autism. And I think she said she had tried auditioning like 2 people and she didn't like them.
Actors.
Yeah. So she just went with Maddie, who she sees as a daughter.
Yeah. And of course then Maddie went the extreme route of then finding the worst examples to base this character on, which then makes it so much worse. And I think it wouldn't be a big deal, but now the Golden Globes are, trying...
Bullshit. Yeah, I heard it has 2 nominations for
It does. Something. It has for Best Supporting Actress for Kate Hudson, Golden Globe, and for Best Comedy/Musical, Best Picture. And there is, I will link later, a change.org petition to take that away, which nice. I'll link for you guys.
I'm sharing that in all the autism groups that I haven't seen come up yet.
Yeah, I can link it now, and then I'll link it again later if you want.
All right, cool.
I tried to make copies of all this stuff earlier today.
I would agree with Reckless. I don't think it was made from malice. I think it was made from ignorance. But for my understanding, when she was called out on that, she just sort of like doubled down on ignorance.
I think that
was like, oh, well, I was kind of doing nepotism and I was being whatever.
I do think she set out to show something good. Okay. They went for very cognitively disabled, but only as autism being cognitively disabled. And then they reference things later where it seems like nobody did any kind of research. And that's what bothers me, is that they didn't talk to the right people. Yeah. Because they reference at one point, the sister references that she has seizures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, that's not like an autistic trait. And if she's having seizures, she might have brain damage, which could be a very real thing you have to deal with. But then you're not portraying an autistic person only. You are portraying someone who has autistic traits or is autistic and has potential brain damage from seizures and needs more care because of that. And there's nothing wrong with setting up something like that, but it can't be just a side reference. And then you're saying this is how autistic people are, because this girl is slightly independent. I like that she goes out for a walk every day. But she can't ever live on her own. Yeah. And it's seen as like burdensome in the movie. So from this point, we had just done the first big dance number, and then she wakes up from that. It was pretty obvious, like it was a dream. And I read that you get a lot of grunting. Yeah. And I felt really uncomfortable with the grunting because I feel like I don't see as much of that, even with profoundly disabled people who can't communicate. They tend, I think, especially autistic people, even if they're more severely autistic, tend to be more silent.
Sure.
Especially by themselves when you know.
And if you're taking this movie I don't know if you're trying to be nice to it or whatever. Like perhaps perhaps that was tics from the brain damage from seizures. I mean, we never really touched on their mom, so I would guess there was...
Well, they talk about how she's a big junkie.
Okay, yeah, so see, there had to be substance abuse because that could account for the seizures and brain damage, and then the other daughter, Zoo, her substance abuse issues.
Which come up in a little bit. So Awabajak says, like having a guy do a documentary on women obese stuff without proper knowledge, the backlash would be massive. Yes, it would be like a non-doctor.
It's like mansplaining, but for autism.
Yeah.
It's what Sia thinks happens in autistic people's heads without actually asking any autistic people.
Neurotypical splaining?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're like, this is how you get to be. And
I can tell you, fucked up dance numbers are not what happens in my head. Like,
Tell me more. I have those every day. Do you not?
Yeah, I don't know what she thinks goes on in our heads, but I'm pretty sure it's not that. Yeah. I mean, maybe some people dream of sensory overstimulation while still having bizarre facial tics, but
I do feel like
I don't feel like that's the norm.
If Sia had come at this to represent somebody who was born to a junkie and had to live life as somebody who is profoundly or severely disabled in any way because of their junkie mom, that would have been fine. And then her sister has to come in and kind of right the wrongs. Great movie.
That would have made it. It still wouldn't have been a great movie, but it would have been far more plausible.
It could have been.
It could have been. She would have had to change more than that.
Well, yes, but if you would have been like, okay, I see where it's coming from. You would have tried to show that, people can. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. It's so bad.
It's a lot.
But yeah, lots of strange hand movements and grunting when she gets up, and she immediately puts her headphones on, and then when she's getting ready, it's got that weird laughter. Mm-hmm. She's got a lot of weird laughter and sounds.
She's always smiling, but like in a really exaggerated, creepy way.
Yeah.
Also with the overbite and the blinking and the it's so over the top all the time. It really is. She follows everything. I can't get all these. I'll wait till she goes on her walk here.
It is very much a lot. And just watching the trailer, you can kind of get, of course, she wants to go and have her same breakfast. Mm-hmm. And what I did notice here is that everything is very drab. The colors are very drab and almost depressing, especially in comparison to those bright, lavish, intense colors of these dance scenes. So, her real life is so drab and sad and depressing, and she could only be her bright, colorful self in her imagination and dreams or something.
She does really seem pretty happy in general otherwise.
Yeah.
She's always got the smile. She, other than her brief meltdowns, and even when she has meltdowns,
I don't know.
They recover, instantly.
Yeah,
it's very weird. Their burnout is not a thing for her, apparently.
Yeah. She is a teenager, so maybe.
Aren't teenagers just supposed to be in constant burnout? Or that's what they seem to want us to think.
Sometimes. Well, maybe it's because, obviously music is not dealing with high school. So maybe that's really true. What saves her. So at that point, she, goes out and her grandma makes her breakfast and she has her 2 eggs and the smiley face with the ketchup. And those are her eggs. And then grandma braids her hair while she eats. And this is every day what she does. Excuse me. So I don't know if you had any kind of comments about that.
Just that I noted with the same food thing. That's something that is common with some autistic people where, and I don't know if there's like a technical term for it, but in the groups that I'm in, they always call it same food, where they only want to eat the same thing for either a specific meal or all their meals. And it has to be the same thing every day or they get upset. That is not something I have at all. I like trying different foods and I get frustrated with having options that are the same. I always want to try like the fun new flavor of whatever. So I know it's a thing and it's probably just because dealing with change can be hard and there is comfort in having things that are the same.
Yeah.
My palate doesn't go that route, but that is a
But then you're also a real thing. Not even close to whatever they're trying to portray this character as either. Yeah. They really did try and find every single bad stereotype that you've ever heard of. It
was every trope they could. Like, I couldn't even believe with the walking, too.
Oh, and the toes, because she was always on her toes.
Yeah, it was always with the in-toeing and the toe walking, because I see those a lot. A lot of you, I think probably everyone in the chat knows that I work in medical records. So, like, I do see records for autistic kids, and I always want to scream when I see ABA suggested. But I see a lot of the toe walking, and that is common with autism. That's, again, not something I've ever personally experienced. But I'm like, God, is there any trope that they didn't grab a hold of? Because
in everything. And all the stereotypes.
And they were all so exaggerated. It felt so insincere.
Okay, so Reckless said he loves a variety in dinner, but breakfast can only be one of a few things.
I see that a lot in the chats where, like, everyone, like, they'll be like, I can only have bagels for breakfast, or I can only have this.
He eats, like, bagels. He eats eggs.
I tend to eat the same things, but just because I can't think in the morning.
And maybe that's it. It's like a comfort thing to, like, start your day.
Yeah, for me, it's just a lazy thing. Like,
but you don't have to think about it. If
like
it's
at work, it's always granola bars because I can keep those in my desk, and managing to put something more elaborate together in the morning. I don't do mornings well.
You're doing better than a Wabba Jack who said pizza in the AM, pizza for lunch, pizza for dinner.
When pizza's on a bagel, I can have pizza.
Pizza bagels. Is that Totino's or something? Yeah, the pizza rolls. You can do I know, you can do like every version of it.
But like that theme song started playing in my head when I read that. Oh, like, gosh, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza.
Gosh. It kind of does have everything.
It really does.
And I will say pizza is delicious. And normally,
I do love it very much. And that's what I'm having tomorrow. I'm excited.
Yeah. Normally we get pizza like tonight to share. But last night I was talking to Brian and I was like, what do you want your pre-surgery dinner to be? And he's like, roasted veggies. And I'm like, okay. And we have all this stuff in the fridge. Like it won't even fit. Our fridge is so crazy full. And so I was like, oh, good. And then I realized, but oh, no, it's pizza night.
Right. Well, I will say I usually have pizza and beer on Fridays.
Yeah.
And when I don't have that, it does feel a little, I mean, because that's.
So you have like some
I guess
routine,
I do. Because,
but not as much.
It's not so much the food specifically. It's just like that's my Friday routine. And
like comfort?
It was more of a big deal with the routine, I think, in pre-pandemic times. But I like to have, after the end of the work week, I like to have my Friday nights to myself where I was just in my pajamas on the couch with the cats with pizza and beer and Netflix or YouTube, because I used to marathon Good Mythical Morning the whole week's worth. I can't do that anymore. I started watching them during the week because I can't get through them all on Friday without falling asleep. It's too much.
We're old.
And now that I don't have dance classes, like I can watch it during the week.
That's true. Yeah.
All my nights are free.
Valkyrie, repeating TV quotes always reminds me a bit of delayed echolation, parallel way. Is it echolalia or
echolalia?
Echolalia. Okay. Yes. I can't see if that was an L or an I. I think I need new glasses, and I do it all the time.
With my psych degree from so long ago, I can tell you it's echolalia.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, my husband does this all the time, and I didn't realize right away that was like an autism thing. But something will come on. And there'll be a quote, and then I'll be sitting next to Brian, and he'll just say the same thing. Like, he'll just repeat it. And I was like,
I tend to more repeat in my head, but like I'll repeat things over and over and over. And there is a term for that I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's similar to echolalia, but for if it's internalized.
Yeah.
But yeah, quoting stuff. And
Brian doesn't internalize much, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It was just an interesting thing, like learning all of this, especially before I really considered that he was autistic.
Sure.
All these pieces that you're like, that's a little weird or quirky, that then add up to this one thing, and you're like, wow, it's crazy how much people can be different and how much can really be the same. And yes, all the time.
Yeah. And there was a lot of that in my friend group that I had sort of borrowed from my brother growing up.
Okay, yeah.
So they were mostly his friends, and I just sort of co-opted them. But there's a couple of them that I would venture are somewhere on the spectrum, and like, oh my God, just like quoting movies and TV all the freaking time. And I thought that's what everyone did. Apparently, maybe not.
No. Well, it was always funny because it was always immediately after. So it was like a little echo.
Sure.
You're watching and you're watching.
Echolalia,
So there you go. I did not know that had a term. So thank you for teaching me. Love to learn. Okay. So then I have, so, yep, she had her braided hair. The grandma tells her some weird, interesting facts, like cats don't meow at each other. They meow at humans, which is true.
Oh my God. And she said, oh, I wonder like why they do that or something. And I'm like screaming at the TV. I'm like, I know.
You want to info dump. Yeah.
I did. It's because it's a kitten behavior. And they don't do that with adult cats because it's not how they communicate. That's how kittens communicate with their parents. And adult cats will like graft kitten behaviors onto their human caretakers that they don't do with other adult cats. But that's one of the kitten things that they'll retain lifelong if they live with humans.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Grandma, I know this.
Yeah.
You could tell her real facts.
We'll have to talk about info dumping another time.
Yes, that's the topic I have on my list. It's coming one of these episodes.
I was telling Amber because Brian was doing that at the doctor's today, info dumping on the nurses. Excuse me. Anyway, so but what I did notice at this point is that every time the grandma looks at her, she looks away, the opposite direction. So if you were looking at me, she's this.
Yes.
Now, I know that autism has eye contact is part of the thing, not being able to really make eye contact. But I have never seen anybody so deliberately like know that someone's looking at them and then
I was trying to find that term for internalized echolalia and I'm not finding it.
That's fine. Maybe next time. That's okay. So, yeah. So have you ever seen that where they overtly look away instead of just looking? Because I thought you would just look at your food. But,
either way, like if I'm...
Because she wasn't looking at the grandma when they made, like they didn't make eye contact.
Right.
But she then was looking at her food, but turned then to look in the opposite direction.
I know a lot of times if I'm, depending on the person, if it's not someone that I know really well, if I'm looking at, like maintaining eye contact while we're talking, I won't be able to comprehend what they're saying. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to hear what they're saying, I can't actually look at them.
Right. But my question was, and we should lean this way a little.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. Is would you overtly go from looking at what you were doing or there you go. You could look in that. But
thank you.
Because music at this point is looking at her plate of food. She wasn't looking at the grandma, but then she goes to look completely away rather than just looking at where she was looking. So would you, I don't feel like autistic people overtly turn their head so far away. Now, if we were looking and you felt uncomfortable, I see you like looking away or looking, but she was already looking away. Right. She wasn't making eye contact. So I was confused.
I mean, I don't know that that's super typical. I think because of masking, I would try to look away not as dramatically so that I don't look as much like a social pariah. But again, like they went so over the top with all her behavior. But she also didn't seem to really visually focus on anything ever.
No.
So I don't know that that's necessarily a talking thing. And I don't know if that was, God, who knows if they ever took her for an eye exam. Like maybe, maybe she can't really see. I don't know.
Yeah. It just seemed bizarre because I just have never seen anybody, even in like extreme cases when you're looking at videos and stuff, already not looking at something and then, because they weren't making eye contact.
Sure.
I've seen it where someone tries to make eye contact and they avert their eyes, but they weren't making eye contact. So why go through the extra movement because she was eating? Like she would just eat.
Yeah.
But I know that this movie makes zero sense. Right. I do understand that, but I was just kind of curious if that's just something I hadn't picked up on or it's just extreme.
I think it's just because all her shit was so exaggerated.
Yeah. Did you have anything else before the walk?
Yeah, let's go to Moira's comment real quick.
Yep.
So Moira asks if I've ever tried staring at the bridge of a person's nose, and I know there are tips like that. I know
the forehead.
Yeah. One of my ballroom teachers would suggest things like that. Later found out she has an autistic son. So I wonder if she knew. But I know that's a thing. I have trouble with that. I don't know if it's too close to the eyes and because it's not something that comes naturally, because then I would be thinking about that. Then again, I'm not actually listening to what they're saying.
Okay. You're concentrating on trying to I'm
trying to maintain the eye contact there. And I don't know. And it's not always that it's not necessarily uncomfortable for me to look at other people's eyes. It's that I don't want them looking at my eyes. Okay. It feels very invasive. Okay. And that's what I don't like about it. Like I can look at other people's eyes and that's okay. But if they're looking back, that's when it's a problem because it feels like they can see inside my brain and it feels, that's why I was thinking it takes me a good, probably 10 years of friendship to be comfortable with prolonged eye contact because at that point I know you know me pretty well, so it's okay that you can it feels so for me, and I don't know if other autistic people feel the same way, but it's more the looking back of other people than the me looking that makes it uncomfortable.
Yeah. And Moira, you're right. It is considered rude in certain cultures to stare at for someone too long.
Oh, I wish I was in one of those cultures.
But I think the issue is that no matter what we do, there's this balance. And
for sure,
the issue when you're not neurotypical is getting the hints that now it's not enough or too much.
Yes.
Is the problem is you're not going to pick up that they're starting to get little no, now it's time to stop.
Yeah.
And I think putting judgment in a person because of that is a problem, just because of it. So
I would agree.
Yeah.
Can you follow me around and tell people?
I will. I'll make excuse me. I'm going to give you a whole lecture before you talk to my friend here. So at this point, Music goes out for her daily walk. And Music lives in the nicest neighborhood in the nicest neighborhood of people in the history of civilization is what I wrote. We were talking about
that accurate.
Yeah. She walks on her toes exclusively, which we had talked about. Then she gets her dog photos from a newsstand owner who cut them out for her. And then this neighborhood boy, his name is Felix. He pays for a piece of watermelon. I guess you get watermelon on a stick in this super friendly neighborhood that probably never gets cold because otherwise this daily walk would be hard.
Right. Yeah.
And then he low key stalks her.
Yeah,
the whole time.
There's this whole network set up in the neighborhood of everyone keeping track of her, and they look at the grandma through the window and give hand signals back and forth that she's okay.
She's fine.
But her overbite is still in place. And
grandma learning. Yeah, we gotta go back a little bit further. Yeah, she goes to the library every day. Music goes to the library, and she looks at the same book. I think it's an encyclopedia. And she opens it to the dog page and she reads this book. And you will find out later, it's the same book, the same page. And that really struck me as odd, really odd. Because
I had the same books that I would read over and over,
but the same page.
I mean,
every day.
No, not the same page every day.
Yeah. Oh, I was at. Can we have bowing as a standard greeting in the U.S. or the up nod of sup?
Yeah, my generation says sup. I'm going with that one.
You know, I thought it was weird because if she is interested in dogs, then you'd think she'd want to look at different things in a library about dogs. And even if they were picture books or encyclopedias, but the same thing every day, because she has the same routine every day that we see, did seem very odd to me. But
she's also presented as having very low intellectual capabilities. So,
but if that were the case, I don't know. It just seems, odd. Thank you, Moira, for hosting that. She's independent kind of enough to know what's dangerous, even though these people are walking far away. But like the same page, it's just, so it's like this weird, that's not how that would work for a person who's this disabled in the way they're presenting.
It's hard when you're just presenting someone as autistic when that's clearly not their only issue.
Oh, so clearly not their only issue. It's very obviously intellectual. There's some intellectual issues.
And I would call that a much bigger issue than the autism would be.
Yeah. And then just like these autistic traits, because you can have two things and that's okay. It's okay to have two things. It's okay to have intellectual issues because your mom did drugs when she was pregnant with you, or you have seizures because of that, or whatever. Maybe she had seizures because of withdrawal. There's all these stories that could be told, and she can also have autism. But that isn't the big thing that's going on here that is represented as what is going on. So did you have anything from the library? Okay. What I did notice is when music leaves the library, she sees the sun, and suddenly her face changes from her, overbite, to a normal face, like a normal neurotypical face. I wish I could move this less. See?
Oh, where she's staring into the sun and suddenly her jaw aligns.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
And now she's just a normal person for a moment because she saw the sun.
And I can tell you, if you have sensory issues, staring into the sun, not great.
Yeah. You would think Brian had an ophthalmologist today. They had to forcibly keep his eye open to look at the light because it was too bright.
Yeah.
Yet... she needs to sun her yoni.
I do not want to see the sequel where that happens.
Well, she's an adult now. It's fine.
I still don't want to see it.
I don't. I'm just saying.
Can we get a taint tanning button like Justin McElroy has for the podcast?
Taint tanning. I don't know if they'll allow that, but it's worth a try. But I did notice that. She magically switches in a moment, and then we cut back to Grandma in the kitchen, who learns that 7 is the only number in 1 through 10 that has 2 syllables. And then Grandma has a stroke. And it's a stroke because her lip goes slack on one side. That was it. There was one moment. And if you missed that moment,
you get the Clue Master Award. I just assumed she had a heart attack. I don't know. I knew she died.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah. The grandma did that. She did confirm. Because she gets her facts from popsicle sticks.
Yeah, popsicle sticks. I was like, oh, yeah.
because that's where she gets her fun facts that she shares with music every morning.
Yeah, you should definitely double check that. And everyone does. You're like, 1, 2. Yeah, 7 is the only.
And the grandma was awesome, which explains why she dies 5 minutes into the movie.
Because she's the only good character.
I think Ebo is a good character. Ebo.
Yeah. Ebo is a good character if he wasn't a stereotype. Yeah, that's the problem. So her lip goes slack, so that's how you know it's a stroke. And she collapses in the kitchen of their apartment, and music comes home from her walk. And she sees George, who's like the property manager, or what's the term? The person who comes and helps you.
He's like the maintenance guy, sort of.
Yeah, they live
/ neighbor. They're in this big apartment complex.
I'd probably know if I wasn't such a mess. I probably would have looked it up. But there's like terms for that in like the city where you have a big apartment complex and they come in. He lets music in. He says he's going to be up to fix their air conditioner in a minute. So, foretold doom. And the music comes in. She sees her grandma on the floor and she starts whimpering and staring at the ceiling. So lots of whimpering at this point,
mm-hmm.
which I can kind of get.
I mean, she's nonverbal, so
if she's nonverbal, like making the noises and stuff, I get. It was a lot too. Like,
I was just glad she wasn't screaming.
Yeah.
I was glad it was quieter.
So it's obvious that like she recognizes what's going on, so she's not. It's just odd how like intellectually problematic. Like, is this? I don't know.
The whole movie's a mystery.
Because they really didn't make it consistent, because they didn't pay attention to what she actually had wrong with her. So then, of course, George comes in to fix the air conditioner, and he sees what's going on. He tries to calm music down quickly and calls for help. And then music starts hitting herself in the head. So they're trying to show this as a stim. What I thought was weird was that she was hitting her leg before.
And she wasn't as distressed then,
right?
Because she was just getting up in the morning.
So they kind of show different things throughout, which is maybe one of the better representations, that like you can have different things to show your anxiety level. I'm gonna give that like the tiniest little bit of okay, that was
I mean,
better.
I think that would make sense because she was clearly very distressed.
Yeah. So that like you see that's her major stim, if we're gonna talk about that, which would make sense with autism, not so much with an intellectual disability, because I think if she was as intellectually disabled as they're trying to represent for the rest of it, she wouldn't have understood what was going on. She would have thought grandma was sleeping,
right?
Not that like something was wrong.
Go to like check and try and wake her up or anything. She just knows that grandma's dead. Well, I don't know if she knows that grandma's dead. She knows something is amiss with the routine.
I think she knows based on later on what happens.
If we're trying to be consistent with what
she doesn't know.
But the movie's all over the place also.
She doesn't know, Anything you have about up to grandma dying when she's wheeled out on a stretcher?
You took much better notes than I did.
Well, that was my job. That's
true. You told me just to react, and I'm like, I can do that.
You're doing the reaction. I said I would summarize.
I'm like, you wrote an essay.
No,
I have 1 page of notes.
I said I would summarize the movie.
That's true.
It's different.
Yeah.
Because, and I had questions and stuff.
Sure.
So then we cut to Zoo, who is played by Kate Hudson, with her shaved head and all.
Which I didn't know until I went to IMDb.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know who any of the... Well, I knew who Maddie was. She was a guest judge on So You Think You Can Dance, and I did not care for her judging.
She was Dance Mom's fame. I remember her from
But, like, she didn't critique
day.
Anyone. She just told everyone they did a good job. And I'm like, that's not going to help anyone grow as a dancer. Because she wanted everyone to like her.
Yeah. She's a teenager.
I didn't care for her as a... That was my only prior experience to her.
I hate that she has more money than me.
That's some bullshit, for sure.
Right? Okay, so you see Zoo. Her name's Kazoo. She goes by Zoo, Z-U. She's at the end of an NA or an AA meeting, and she gets kicked out. She's fallen asleep, and you can see that she has like a ton of random phones all plugged in charging. And she gets a call from George, the property manager guy, to say that her grandmother died. And then we are back at the apartment. Music is watching this weird TV show that's starring Tig Notaro.
Something like that.
Ugh, it's bad. Yeah, reacting to a movie and studying a movie are two different things. And I didn't want to go into it too much, but just give people a basis of what's going on. Sure. And your perspective to the reaction is more important than mine.
Oh, thank God. Because that's what I've got. No,
that's why
I know. But I appreciate that.
Yes.
That I have
to be respectful
what for me feels like the easy part of the split.
Yeah, that's okay. So yeah. I also don't work, so it helps.
That's true.
So, yeah, she's watching this TV show. It's got Tig Notaro. It's, like, made for kids. It's a little weird. It has, kind of, like, fluffy characters and big wheels, but everything's monotone. And,
it's very strange.
It creeped me out more than Teletubbies and, there was, like, Yo Gabba Gabba.
I don't know if it was the name of it or whatever word it was, but, like the way
Radicals or something?
Yeah, the way it was pronounced and the way it was spelled, like, my brain could not reconcile that into, like, being a legit word.
That's where she is talking to the lady about getting a chip, and she steals it.
Ah, yes.
You notice that? Yeah.
Yes.
Just give that a minute.
Yeah, she's like, how do I get that sobriety chip? And the lady's like, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh.
No,
but she totally steals it.
Yeah. That's her and George. I know we're only 12 minutes in.
So there's...
The beginning has more going on than the middle. Oh, well, that's great. I'm just going to leave it on that while we talk.
It's beautiful.
Because I'm a nice person.
That's the substance abuse older sister, Zoo.
Yeah. Obviously, you could tell her parents were great humans. Named them Kazoo.
For sure.
Yeah, but Zoo, like, comes in and is like, surprise! All big. So obviously, she has no idea that her sister has sensory issues, I guess.
Who knows? I mean, she does and she doesn't. That changes randomly. So,
it really
sometimes
does.
She does and sometimes she... Who knows?
Yep. Music mumbles at Zoo. She just finishes watching the show. That's fine. George then gives Zoo the envelope from her grandma that was left in case of emergency. We also learned how Zoo was in jail because she stole George's TV and fell off a fire escape. So we kind of learned that. And then she shows him the 90-day sober chip that she stole from the lady. So you kind of...
She doesn't tell him that she stole it, though.
No, she doesn't. But we see it.
She's like, look, I'm sober now.
Yeah. We see it, so you can kind of tell that, like, she's just faking at being better at this point, I guess is supposed to be what that represents.
It's not a great portrayal of someone with addiction issues either.
Right. Yeah.
I've known a lot of people with substance abuse problems.
Better than their autistic person representation,
but it's still bad. Not great. It's not great.
Yeah, it's less than bottom of the barrel, I guess.
I would expect more from Kate Hudson. Like, she's famous. Like, why would she take a role like this?
I think they all thought this was going to be, like, really eye-opening to people.
And dude from Hamilton, what the fuck was he thinking?
Yeah, but this was 2017, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe things were different
I don't remember anything before the pandemic.
Is there a world outside this place?
Yeah, because if that was, I don't know when Hamilton started, maybe
2016.
Oh, okay.
So this was probably right after he finished his run in Hamilton. He would have filmed this. Gotcha. Yeah, poor Aaron Burr. I mean, he's a fine actor in this. It's just a bad movie.
He is. Yeah. Like, same with Kate Hudson. She did well with the material she had. It's just the material she had was garbage.
Yeah. And then, so Zoo tries to talk to music by taking off her headphones, and then she gets kind of grunty and weird noises, like she's distressed. And then you get one of music's few phrases. She gets up and says, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed, and walks to her bed. And then Zoo tries to get someone to come get her.
Yeah.
A pickup service.
Yeah, she compares her to a dog.
Well, that was later. Yeah. She says, later on, she does say, I'm going to send her to the people pound.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know.
Who says that? Who puts that in a movie, even as a joke, to say, I'm going to send my obviously intellectually disabled sister, half-sister, to the people pound?
We've known people that we would send to pounds. To be fair.
I would never say that to another person. I would maybe think that, but I wouldn't say it to someone I met that day.
That's true.
She says this to a person she met that morning.
That's true. That's fair.
That she's going to send her sister to the people pound.
Well, she's also questionably substance enabled.
Right. But somebody put that in my point is somebody put that in a movie.
That's
and nobody said.
I thought it was a great idea.
Maybe no. Yeah. Very cringy. The people pound. And because, of course, we as the viewer have seen that she was trying to actually get someone to come pick her up. It's not so much a joke.
Yeah.
You know, she can play it off as a joke to the other character, but in the movie, obviously, it was very serious. So, did you have anything for kind of that span of time before I move on?
No.
We see the grandma's will, which has scratch and sniff stickers. So we get that she's quirky. Grandma was quirky. And that there's no money. I'm also going to really quickly here apologize to Amber for all my spelling mistakes. Just ignore those because I didn't go back through. I just did it quick. Then, we go to Music's room at this point, and she's going to bed. And this light comes flashing through the window to illuminate the dog pictures that are on her wall. And then you start getting the music picking up this peppy. It's all very peppy music.
So peppy.
I feel very pepped out.
I feel distressed.
Yeah. This dance scene that starts is, pink and puffy, and it's got like big...
my nightmare.
Yeah, pink puffy tulle and big books. Let me see. That's kind of interlaced with, this giant human shaggy dog.
I guess. It's a dog or it's a mop or it's both.
It's both. It's a human mop hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah, human mop dog hybrid. Is it all three?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's not what I dream about before bed.
Yeah, so we do see that the flashing lights is coming from Felix, the neighborhood boy who lives across the street. And at night he does this for her, I guess. And
she seems to enjoy a flashlight shining in her room.
Yeah, like a UFO coming to signal.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I could see how a kid would enjoy that because you wouldn't really understand what was happening or, and it would be fun because it'd be like a party. Sure. But that, to me, somebody weird. Who has sensory issues seems like somebody who wouldn't enjoy that as much.
Sure.
Just personally. So, anything you had about this lovely dance scene with the pink?
I wanted it to be over.
Tulle.
She had some more giant headphones on.
Yeah.
She had the same crazy ass facial expressions that were so exaggerated, and I hate them so much.
Everyone.
I hate all her facial expressions.
Dog mop human hybrid. Make it happen.
I thought you weren't doing the ASMR tag.
If that gets people, whatever.
I don't know. I'll be cringy. I don't care. It's just me being me. Okay?
No, that comment was from a while ago.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know when my husband tells me things are super cringy.
Fair.
He also tells me I'm loud.
You?
No. And I said, you married me. I've been loud.
That's true.
Never stop being loud.
That's true.
Sorry. You knew what you were getting. But I was screaming in his ear because I was talking to a neighbor outside of the door, like in the alley outside. And so his ear was like right here. Oof. And I'm yelling. And I was like, I'm sorry, I know. But there's not really much I can do at that point. And I apologize, but I did say, Yep, okay. The human mop dog shows up. They dance. There's a lot of weird cut scenes back and forth at this point. And then, you get music, and then she is in bed smiling and making all of her little childlike grunting noises that I guess are her happy noises during this scene where it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
it's like living inside cotton candy. Like it's so much bright and pastel and sugar and bright and loud and
everything. It's just everything.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So then we're at the next morning. Music walks into where Zoo is sleeping, and she's wearing this bra and underwear that have a zipper pouch in the front. Which, who doesn't have zipper pouch underwear? I mean, right? All the best drug dealers?
Sober people. That's who doesn't have those.
I was like, wow, zipper front underwear. Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah. So I guess that's interesting. So she comes in, so music comes in and she says, make you eggs. A bunch of different times. Make you eggs.
Okay. So there's like a little place in the front where you can stash drugs, if that's your thing. Which I
don't know if I can
that's
find it.
Zoo's thing.
I'm getting a network error. Okay. That's fine for you. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if I'll be able to see them, but yeah.
It's showing fine on my phone.
They were, there's the back of the underwear. That doesn't show me the zipper.
Something that's
coming up.
Oof.
We're going to talk about. But
yeah. Something I found very odd with Zoo's character. She almost never wears a shirt throughout this whole movie.
Like a full shirt, yeah.
Right. When she's out in public, when she's going shopping, when she goes to a wedding, when she's anywhere, she's just wearing a sports bra. And I'm like, in what world are you allowed to go out in
a world where Maddie Ziegler and Kate Hudson both work for Fabletics?
Oh.
They both make collections for Fabletics, which is, of course, you know, they make a lot of sports bras and stuff. So I kind of am wondering if they were like, you know, what they had back then. Yeah. Because
yeah, I just thought it was really weird that like she never wears a shirt.
Yeah.
Like
but
if
those
it's
underwear creep me out.
Summer and I'm at home, I'm probably just wearing a sports bra. But like,
you don't.
If I leave my house, I'll throw a shirt on.
It's bad. And yeah, the zipper pouch underwear, I'm guessing it's for, you know, pat downs and stuff, but it's just
that's
an
my
underwear
guess.
with
it's
like
just
a zipper and a pouch.
And like
front.
she unzips it at one point. Like, does she take something out of it, or is she just checking to make sure the zipper works? I can't remember.
I think that was the chip, the sober chip
I was wondering if that was
she had stolen. Because when that first happened, Brian was like, "Wait, did she take that out of her underwear?" I'm like, "I think so."
Yeah,
that was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
So a lot of this movie is weird.
Yeah. But I did learn that I guess zipper pouch underwear exist.
I think I knew and then had forgotten it was a thing.
Yeah. But I think they've learned by now. So yeah, so she makes her eggs, but of course Zoo doesn't know how to make things properly. So there's a lot of strange whimpering, distressed, you know, like noises and looks on Music's face. And then, you know, Music wants you to braid your hair. So, like, because that's what, of course, somebody else would be saying.
She can only speak 3-word phrases.
Yeah. So she says, make you eggs. So make, you know, because that's maybe what grandma would say. I'm going to make you eggs or braid your hair. So that's what she says. Those are her phrases. And she keeps repeating this over and over, but Zoo doesn't first understand and then says, I don't know how to braid hair.
Well, before that, she says, I can't braid my hair because her head is shaved. She's like, I don't have hair. I can't braid my hair. What are you talking about?
The third person thing. Yeah. And then when she figures out that that's how Music talks, she's like, I don't know how to braid. And then we have our first meltdown. Yeah. She starts pushing stuff, shouting, crying because, you know, this, you know, change of routine. And during all this, the screaming starts and Ebo, the neighbor, knocks on the door to come in and settle Music down.
Yeah. This is the scene that all the autism groups have problems with.
It was supposed to be cut from, Sia said, when people came back and said that they had an issue with it, Sia said, okay, I'm going to cut those scenes so they won't be shown. And I got this not that long ago. It was still in the movie. So he is, Ebo here is restraining her.
He literally says he's going to crush her. And
I'm going to crush you with my love.
Yeah. And a lot of autistic kids have died from this kind of restraint during meltdowns.
Yes. Which I also do have, if anyone cares or is interested, some resources of what different kinds of restraints, evidence, if you're worried about somebody you know, like even if they're in a home or something, has been having these restraints done on them, as well as stories about kids who have died because of these restraints. And this has been going on, you know, this has been something that at least from 2008 on, people have been reporting about these deaths. And it was pretty much out. I think it's outlawed in a number of states, but not enough. I think it's like 15 or 18 states have outlawed the restraint for kids in schools and stuff, but not enough of them, obviously, because it's not 50 states. Like it should be outlawed. Kids have died from asphyxiation. Yep. It's much like we see even, sorry to be political, but with police restraints.
Yep.
If it comes up that people can't breathe, it's a problem.
Then they die.
And especially with these kids, if they're nonverbal, you might not realize that they're grunting because they can't breathe versus grunting because they're still upset. Yeah.
Sometimes even when you say, I can't breathe, they just choke you harder.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, he does say, I'm going to, what was it? I'm
going to crush you with love or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And I had showed, and I put the links in. Yeah, I'm crushing her with my love. Well, he is laying on top of her, and that is not
great.
It's not great. It is not a great way to put it either.
No.
Crushing you with love.
Like it's bad enough that you're endorsing restraint, but then to also literally call it crushing them?
Yeah, but with my love?
That's gross. That sounds like a really yucky pickup line.
Right. It sounds like some sort of weird sex thing that I don't want to even know about. So yeah, it was
we'll dive into
bizarre.
that on our OnlyFans account.
Yeah, we'll talk about if we accept the crushing with their love.
Oof, no, we don't do crushing fetish.
Yeah,
we're not here to kink shame, but
we're not fans of asphyxiation.
But if people die, not cool.
Yeah, that's got to be a very different thing. That's between you and your partner, though.
Yeah.
So he comes in, and then we do find out shortly after this that he is from Ghana, which is a country in Africa, for those who don't know, along the Ivory Coast. So he had a brother that was like music. That's what he said. And we do find out that he died. We don't know how he died, but that also, it was seen as like a curse in Ghana to have a child like this, like you'd been cursed.
Yes, Valkyrie, death not good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all on the same page here.
It's so funny that we have to say for a movie that's supposed to be helping people, wait, you're causing harm, death, possibly. Yeah. And death is not good. Yeah.
Like that.
So
this
should
be a given.
The supine restraint is what I wrote down because she's face up.
Gotcha.
Which is, And then, so he does calm her down. Mostly now, for people who do, with autism that get this upset, they do still use like deep pressure stimulation, but that's more like, hugging, like where they still have some control. That has been shown that the deep pressure does help. If you have that fight or flight, it can kind of calm it down.
Sure.
However, I think, anytime you have an adult and a child, especially, we need to be cautious with how much you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once you're an adult, the person should be telling you what they need. Maybe not when they're upset if they're having a true meltdown, but at least communicate that with you if that's something that helps, whether it be a weighted blanket or, yelling and calming down that way. Some people want to be more vocal. Some people, do like the pressure. Some, it's everybody different. Yeah, a weighted blanket is
I love mine.
Really good for a lot of people. And so far, no one has died from a weighted blanket, which is far superior to this. So, so then they are talking, Zoo and Ebo. And of course, when Zoo first opened the door, did you notice? He had that look like, ooh, who's this pretty girl? Is that what we need a love story, right?
Who's this pretty bald addict? No, I mean, not to shame it. It's fine if you're bald and fine if you.
Hey, I have mostly shaved.
I mean,
but it is. It's just so bad because, in that moment, there's something going on, and they still felt the need to be like, okay, look like you're attracted to her the minute you see her,
right?
In this. Okay, so then Ebo calms her down and gets her some gum, and then braids her hair because he knows how to do it, and hopefully he taught Zoo because braiding's not that
she
hard.
Was paying attention.
It wasn't like a French braid or anything.
Right? Yeah, it was just normal.
Yeah,
braid.
Yeah, stopped you from the weighted blanket. I think, you got to get the weighted blanket if it works for you, but please don't strangle yourself with it or let it crush you with its love.
Oh my God, I will say, if you have kittens that are assholes and they're fighting by your feet and you try to kick them and you have a weighted blanket over your legs, you can hurt your legs that way. You don't realize how heavy the blanket is when you're trying to.
But here's the thing. You sound like you're an animal abuser, and I'm going to have to put in the description, no animals were actually ever harmed by Amber.
They're incredibly durable kittens. No, doesn't help. That doesn't help. No, my kids are happy and healthy.
We're going to get PETA is going to come after us. I mean, I don't give a shit about
I
them,
did learn that Sia is a vegan and a supporter of PETA.
Well, of course.
So, yeah,
that figures.
Don't hurt animals, but you can crush people, and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, PETA's a little too extreme. They're very extreme people.
No, my kittens are happy and healthy, but it is very annoying when I'm trying to sleep and they're fighting on my legs.
Yeah, I mean, kittens and puppies and everything can be annoying. I mean, that's just how it goes. So, then music goes for her daily walk again in this wonderful, amazing neighborhood where they all just give her things and stalk her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ebo kind of tells Zoo about what she does. So they kind of follow her. At no point does music actually acknowledge that they're following her. Right. Obviously, she's smart enough to notice it.
And as soon as she's crushed, she's like instantly over all her problems.
That.
Like it's
okay. It took her
like
30
huge
seconds
grin
to calm
immediately
down.
After.
Yeah, because she could have gum.
Yeah,
and get her hair braided. That was very
weird.
It was very toddler-esque, like young toddler. Like, okay, just tell me what you want again, and okay, everything's better.
I can tell you, like, if I have a meltdown over something, like, I'm not just like instantly smiling as soon as it's done. Like, that's not.
That doesn't work well for a movie, though.
That's true.
If you're going to be in a movie about your life, you need to get that shit together. You have to, like, feel it and then let it go.
I will not be getting my shit together because I'm not going to be in a movie.
Okay. Fair enough.
I will remain a disaster.
Fair enough. Okay, so anything else about restraint?
Just that it's real bad. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because kids die, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
Adults die, too. Don't kill them either.
Right. Lives matter.
They do.
I'm not going to say all lives matter because that has been co-opted. But
yes.
People matter, and we should not be crushing them to death unless they are actively harming us.
Yeah.
So, okay, so they're following her around. We go to the library again, and during this, kind of in the background, Ebo is reading the diary that the grandma kept with all this information about music. You get to learn about her allergies, I guess, penicillin, bees, and nuts. Why I tagged that some of it will come back later, but I just remember that. And then they mentioned that she hasn't wet the bed for 2 years. So that's great. And then Zoo says, I wet the bed 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And Ebo seems rightfully bothered by that.
Yeah.
I did put the scene of him crushing.
I'm guessing it's an alcoholism related thing with her bedwetting.
I would hope so.
She doesn't wear a bra when she's wearing a shirt. But she does only she either wears a bra or a shirt and not both.
Yeah. And nothing fits properly. But that's because she's an addict, and I guess everything has to be
the sports bras fit, but I guess she can't fit a shirt over them.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's real weird.
I mean, for her age, she looks good, but...
She does.
Yeah. Gave up wearing bras. Okay, Moira gave up wearing bras.
Sure. Well, I just put on a bra today before I came over here. Like, I wasn't going to wear one all day at home.
Yeah.
But I'll put one on when I'm leaving the house. It's going to come off as soon as I get home.
See, I just, I got the wire-free ones, and I don't feel like I'm ever wearing one, so
still living that underwire life.
Yeah, I can't.
Just like my mom raised me.
Yep.
Well, my ribs are a little more durable, so.
Yeah, my ribs are not because of my whole thing going on, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So this is where they're following her around. We see the same book with the same page as before. And then when they get back home from this, walk out, that's when Zoo makes the joke about sending music to the people pound, but keeping her longer because Ebo wants to stop by. So she'll keep her because there's a cute boy in it for her.
I mean, that's as solid a logic as this movie's going to get. Well, we've all kept stupid shit around because a cute boy might be interested. So, I mean, not usually a whole person.
That's true, right? She does reference that she's twice Music's age later.
Yeah, they're apparently half siblings, right?
Right. And she's double the age. So that puts her in her, like, our age. I mean, that makes her around our age. I feel like at that point you've learned not to just do things for boys.
Some people never learn that, though.
That's true. Yeah. Did you have anything up to that kind of point where we're at, where they just got home? I know.
Just that at that point we're getting a pretty clear indication that this is going to end up not being an autism story, but this is a love story between these two.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have just made it about them.
It was a little puppy dog eyes-y when they parted ways after their, first, hour of knowing each other?
Yeah. It was a lot.
No, we know some people like that.
We do. I mean, there are some people like that. It's still, I don't want to, it's not realistic to me. I feel like. So it's hard. So then we see Felix, the boy, the neighbor boy who usually watches music and is the one that like flashes the light for her. He going into work for his family dry cleaners. Now they are Asian, so of course they own a dry cleaning business, and the dad is mean and has to yell at him because he's late.
And the wife is submissive because we have to hit every fucking stereotype possible in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And Reckless does say that, Kate Hudson was the lead actress and that really this was her story, because
for sure,
the further we get into this movie, the less music is involved.
Yeah.
Which is why there's
there's
a lot to say up front and less to say because there's actually like, oh, she's just a background feature.
Which, if that's what they wanted to make this movie, okay, but like, why do you name it after a side character?
Right. I guess originally the name was Sister, which is also kind of weird, but
it is. But then they could have fluctuated between leads, and it wouldn't have been as weird.
Yeah,
I guess.
So then, and then we watch as Zoo looks all over the house to try and find money or things to sell, and Zoo finds some old blocks that she liked as a kid, and she has to take them out and show them to Music. And Music is watching her kid show in the evening that she likes. That's really bad. And she turns it off and takes off like the headphones, which, aren't you just asking for a meltdown at that point from, a kid who is on the spectrum? Because I feel like she knows a little bit. Oh, we're going to get there in a minute. There's so much.
There's a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Nothing like a white guy in cornrows.
Yeah.
So anyway, and
that's maybe a slight cross-dresser.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Like, she's trying to tell so many stories, but because it's so many and it's so trope-y, she only gets very surface level with all of them.
Yeah.
So it just feels very weird and very dumb. Like, any of these characters just on their own could have been a good movie, with different actors for some of them and different writers and different directors.
Well, but different everything. Okay, different everything. Yeah. And, so at this point, she found the block. She goes out, she turns it off. Music is whimpering. She gets really upset. But we do hear some exposition about their old dog Raindrop and how Raindrop had seizures just like Music did, and that's where we hear that for the first time that Music had seizures, which obviously is not an autistic trait of any kind.
Raindrop's her real mom.
Yeah, right. It's a dog. Wow. And then that their mom was a big junkie, and so that's what Zoo is saying. And then Music just says go to bed a few times and leaves, and that was it. He's like, go to bed, and then of course it's morning again. It's just like, I feel like one thing happens and it's the next day, and one thing happens and it's the next day, and it's just like, hey, okay, how
like
many?
All the best stories.
357 years into this, are we going to get anything? So it's the morning, and we follow Zoo to meet her drug supplier, aka John Ralphio from Parks and Rec. He is obsessed with Asian culture and wigs for some reason.
Yeah, he owns a wig store and wears kimonos.
Yeah,
he doesn't wear the wigs because he's got to have his cornrows. So we're doing a couple different kinds of cultural appropriation in one dude.
Like a cornrow wearing geisha is like what they went for. Who sells wigs?
Right. I feel like they wanted to make him some sort of gay trope, but they didn't quite get there. They didn't really touch on sexuality, but it's weird. And she doesn't wear shirts.
And there's
she just it's fucking weird, you guys. It's so weird.
It is. Yeah, it's so weird. So she goes, and of course she doesn't have enough money. So her cash is a little light, but he fronts her some pills and says, when you sell these 20, you can come back and get 20 more. Because Kate Hudson character Zoo wants more, but of course she's light, so he doesn't. But he likes her, so he's going to give her some because she makes him laugh. So I guess that was the most important thing ever. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah. Right? I just can't get past like the fact that he's not
a very good drug dealer.
He's the worst drug dealer. I have never been a drug dealer, but I'm pretty sure that the cardinal rule of being a drug dealer is you don't give shit away for free.
Yes.
Is that just me?
You don't use your own supply. I have also never been a drug dealer, nor have I ever used any drugs unless you count alcohol. But from my understanding, you don't use your own supply and you always get your money.
Yeah. And you will find out later that he is the world's like worst. I couldn't believe what happens later on in this movie, but basically he fronts her a shit ton of pills.
Yeah.
Like a shit ton of pills.
Like thousands of dollars worth of pills.
Yeah. Like 700 pills. And
which she probably loses.
She does lose them, which we'll explain. But and we're talking about like Oxycontin and like Dilaudid and like big drugs. So this is tens of thousands of dollars.
This isn't something he could just whip up in his basement.
That he fronts her. What kind of drug dealer, unless they're having sex, which is going to...
But she did compliment his kimono. And that was
after.
Oh, was it after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was like, did you ask me?
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, which is,
It's a very weird dealing relationship.
There's the trope that you get them hooked and they come back for more drugs.
Sure. But that's the users. That's not your sellers.
Yeah, she's the dealer for him. And she kind of already screwed him over.
Yeah.
And now he's late money and she's giving more. But she's one of his dealers. So obviously...
Usually that ends in death, not here's a bunch more free drugs.
Here's 700 pills. No, you would die. Like don't sell drugs, kids. Because it is not... You think it'll get you to Costa Rica, which is what that's her character wants.
Her whole
paradise.
Thing. Yes, she wants to go to
paradise.
She wants to go to Costa Rica, even though she doesn't speak the language.
She doesn't speak Spanish. She wants to teach yoga, but she doesn't.
She doesn't know yoga.
Doesn't know yoga,
but she can stand on her head, and that's pretty much all yoga is. I believe is what she says something to that effect.
Yeah, that is what she says.
That's her life goal. Yeah. And she's gonna buy a plot of land with what money? I don't know.
Well, that's what she's
and raise her own food,
grow her own food, and go to the beach and camp there. I don't know, but I think that's why she's selling drugs to get the money to go live there. But
she's not selling them very well.
She's the worst drug dealer.
She really is,
and he's the worst drug supplier.
Yes.
Okay, this is what we have learned.
It's not a good drug dealing learning movie.
So she gets some drugs and she goes to meet this wealthy woman who's caring for her mom after her mom gets divorced or is going through a divorce. And she, that's fine. Zoo's wearing her normal,
her work bra.
her coordinated work bra and skirt or whatever. Yeah. And goes into this ritzy place wearing almost nothing. And
so weird.
Yeah. And then... But she says, I want to set you up with this wealthy friend of mine to sell some drugs. And at first, Zoo doesn't want to. But, she's got money and she agrees to it. And
you'll never guess who she is.
You'll never guess. And then we flash over and Ebo is on the phone talking about how he can't afford his medication. He can't afford to stay alive.
As soon as he said that, I'm like,
yep.
I gave him AIDS.
I went
I know. Oh. He's black and we said he's from Africa. He's got an accent.
He's got HIV.
Clearly,
it's HIV.
It's the only way this story's going.
Yeah. I said that to Brian. I was like, oh, he's got HIV.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's how his brother died because most of the time they do get it from their parents. But,
I thought he implied that his brother was killed because of the autism. We don't actually know.
It's a curse, but then, but also...
I feel like he said something about he wasn't treated well because there's...
Who knows?
Maybe it's both.
Maybe he had HIV and then he was... I'm guessing what they wanted you to think was that they probably sacrificed him to some sort of god because that's a stereotype that they would have.
Put that in there.
I think... Maybe they cut that scene because I'm pretty sure there's at least one other scene that got cut, and I feel like there'll
be in the director's cut.
No, there's stereotype.
Stay tuned for the sequel pod once we get the director's cut.
Right? I think we need to rewrite it. Just this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, we're only 35 minutes in and I want it to end. Please let it end.
It does not end. It goes,
we're on the next morning because something happened. So it's the next day.
Yes.
Ebo is showing Music how to use this nice talking board, which is a real thing.
Yes.
So that's good.
They very briefly try to give her some sort of agency.
Yeah.
It gets pushed to the wayside pretty fast.
Yeah.
But
there's the rich woman.
Oh, yes. There's the dealing bra.
Her coordinated career drug dealer outfit.
I'm going to start labeling my sports bras on like what outside adventures I can have with them.
Why don't you just, you know what? Podcast bra.
Oh,
there you go.
True.
That's OnlyFans. I'm sorry. Once we get subscriptions, then we'll talk about that.
Yes, join us on Patreon.
So Ebo is helping.
There's her beautiful overbite. Like, I don't, like, why does she have to like dislocate her jaw? Like,
I feel like she wants everything to be shown through her face. It's really odd. It's bad. But yes, the good thing is they bring a talking board, that says, I am happy, I'm scared, I'm sad, yes, no, things like that. So it's at least a moment where they're giving music some agency, a way to communicate, something really good and healthy that you could do for any individual who is, having some sort of communication issues.
Yeah, and it does show that she does have cognitive ability.
I feel like if this had been a horror movie, and in the end, you find that like she was really okay and taking them for a ride, that would have been
made me so happy.
Yeah, and then she like murdered them and took all the money that her grandma stashed. That would have been good. And then she goes to Costa Rica.
Yes.
She's like, yoga. I know yoga. I've been practicing.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the end I want, but that's not the end we're going to get.
It's not the end we're going to get. So we are there and we have Zoo yelling from the street below. Did you have anything up until that?
No.
Make sure. Okay. So you see Zoo yelling from the street below. She got a kiddie pool and all of a sudden we go out to the kiddie pool and, she's in her bathing suit and whatever. And, Music brings out the little communication board. And it's good because she's like, I am happy. And that's nice. And then they ask, like, do you want to touch the water? And she's able to say no and show that. And she's a little bit coy about it, a little childish coy, though. So not quite consistent with the varying maturities that she has during this very weird thing. And then the peppy music starts again. And you know what that means? We're getting a Sia song again. Another Sia song. And this one has to do with water. And some of the lyrics are, music can free our soul and the beat can take us away. And the girls are wearing like scuba suits with diapers.
Yes! Why do they have giant diapers? I was wondering about that. They were so big and so bad.
They were so bad. There you go.
Why? Why would you do this?
Why
do they all have giant inflatable diapers?
Why would any human agree to be in a movie that makes you wear this? Please explain this to me.
It's so fucking nuts.
It's a scuba suit with a diaper. Like, not even a good diaper. An old, like, messed up, like, old-fashioned diaper. Right, Valkyrie, why?
It's so bad.
Yeah. So this
Kate Hudson has a matching one.
Yeah.
So Zoo has the same outfit with the same giant.
They're slightly different colors. That's it. But they're,
yeah. Hers was more of a mustard yellow, but it's another giant yellow diaper.
Kate Hudson put on a giant diaper suit and was like, let's dance. I always think I look weird when I dance. I'm always concerned.
We're not this bad.
Right. We don't wear diapers.
We need to keep this in mind.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's another. So this is another very peppy dance scene.
It's so much.
This is a fantastic. Yeah. We get a foam pool. We get giant bubblegum people.
It's kind of like Violet from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah,
except these guys bounce around. She just rolled.
But it reminds me of like that suit that Violet had. Yeah. I mean, it's equally creepy, but in a different way.
Question for me. Yeah, the foam pit looks fun. I think that they just wanted to do this.
It does.
How did they spend $16 million on this movie?
I read, I was reading the trivia on IMDb, and I believe they said that originally they weren't going to have her songs in this.
Yeah.
But someone gave her like an extra like $1.5 million to put her stupid bullshit songs in here.
Yes, it's all the foam. It was the foam pit. Yeah, it was the music, and they said the musical, like the music things added all of this money, but I still don't see how this could have cost that much money, you know, just because they didn't do or go anywhere really extreme or
I would guess
on
Kate Hudson and
it was all
Omar.
Yeah. Leslie Odom
Leslie
Jr.
Odom, thank you.
Yeah. Aaron Burr, sir. So I will sing you all the Hamilton songs. Maybe one day that will be like after we get so many subscribers, it'll be Kristen sings Hamilton and everyone will want to die from embarrassment for me. So
that's what friends are for.
Right? So we get this, amazing dance number with their bright colors. They're dancing around, flashing lights again. It's a very ADD.
It's a very sensory nightmare, as all the musical numbers
I said it feels like an autistic nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I
think, did I write this exact? I wrote that it was a sensory nightmare.
I said, I am not, I don't pretend to be somebody who is like, I know all things about autistic people, but I saw this and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
This is not such a bright thing. So many flashing lights. If you have a seizure disorder of any kind,
don't watch this movie.
Do not watch this movie. You will probably get in so much trouble during these dance sequences.
Also, if you don't hate yourself, don't watch this movie.
Oh, yeah. Don't.
We're clearly watching it for you and giving you a very thorough play-by-play.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We probably don't actually need this thorough play-by-play, but just really...
The pod's going to be a lot more hours long if we keep this.
No, it won't because...
Oh, it does kind of drop off.
It does. Yeah. Like, there's so much, and then
they start all this stuff and then don't follow through with any of it.
Right.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Like, music starts to fade out of the picture. It's just all this thing that... I found myself taking so many notes at the beginning, and I'm like, am I getting tired?
Oh, that's true.
Or is there less to see?
More than halfway through your notes and half an hour into a 2-hour movie.
I didn't get all the notes done, sorry. But as I said,
we found out yesterday that my husband's having major surgery tomorrow, so it's been a week.
It has.
So after this, we go to the gym where Ebo teaches boxing.
Yes.
And, of course, he used to be a former boxer. And Zoo's like, oh, why'd you give up?
That's where you got all your handsome muscles, right?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, why did he give up? Because he's got the AIDS. Because he's from Africa, and that's all we could think of as the worst stereotypes. Is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
And then... we're coming up on the stupidest thing I have ever heard, and I am so excited about this next part. Do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe? They go for a walk in the park, and Ebo is trying to explain to Zoo what life is like for music, and how everything, she just sees and feels everything so intensely. Mm-hmm. And he says the words, hold on, I have to... maybe we can get to the part. You can look at some Leslie Odom Jr. here. He says that music needs the audio filtering because she can hear a whisper from 2 rooms away. And I looked at my husband, I said, you have a fucking superpower?
Not that one. Yeah, no.
And that, if she looks at you too long, she couldn't handle it. That's why she doesn't give you eye contact, because you wouldn't be able to handle. She just needs a snapshot in the time.
It was very neurotypical splaining. Is that what we decided we're calling it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
we need to shorten that phrasing.
Yeah.
But I think
like NT-splaining.
I think ableism.
Yeah, it is ableism. But here's the thing. I was like, okay, I have excellent hearing. But the things that bother me are not the same things that bother my husband as an autistic person. Mm-hmm. He's like, I can't hear better than a normal person.
Right.
But I pick up a sound and I can't concentrate on anything else, I guess was more what he was describing. Yeah. And I figured I would ask you if you indeed have the superpower.
Pretty sure not.
Darn.
Not that I've noticed so far, and I would think after 37 years I would have picked up on it by now.
You can't hear your like landlady or like coworkers rooms away whispering about you?
Yeah, not usually.
Continue
whispering about me behind my back, coworkers. I can't hear you.
You're in the clear. Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, no.
I was like, no.
Like being bothered by different sensory inputs and like actually having enhanced, like, so bright
different.
lights really bother my eyes.
Yeah.
It's not because I have super good vision, as my eye doctor could very much tell you. My eyes are trash. Like, I'm probably fairly close to legally blind, but like light bothers me, but it's not because like I can see into other dimensions.
Are you sure? Are you sure? I think there's a parallel universe that you're peering into.
I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. But I just thought this shows how little research they actually did, that they couldn't even be bothered to talk to an autistic person and say, what is your experience?
Because it wouldn't have gone well if they had talked to an autistic person, because they'd been like, what the fuck are you doing?
But you don't have to tell them your plan
the whole movie.
To just say, like, what happens. They thought
sensory... Even, like, lurk on an autistic forum for, like, an hour.
It was like
because there's tons of sensory conversations.
They saw sensory overload, and they thought they must hear and see things better than us.
That'd be dope if we could, but we can't.
That's called fucking superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just cool. Because things bother you doesn't mean that you experience them more like intensely like because you have a superpower. Yeah. You're not like a blind person with you're not like echolocating with like bat powers.
I wish I was. How cool would that be?
It would be awesome. But that's not, like, it's not realistic. And it really bothered me because I was like, are you really? I mean, it's.
Yeah.
There are so many things about being autistic that are like superpowers to me. Like, I would say that's an awesome thing to have.
Sure.
But to reference things that aren't true it's reaching absurd.
A little bit. Yeah.
It's absurd to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you felt about that, but I think
I felt it was not a great explanation.
Yeah.
As I think we've proven.
The autistic superpower. Yeah. So the headphones are the audio filtering because she's too sensitive. She hears everything. And then he explains that when she hears something, she files it away in her brain. And then it returns to her main system later on, maybe 3 weeks later or something. And they kind of flash back to when her grandma was saying, something to her. And
that made no sense.
Okay. I said, I don't really know how that works.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong and any of you guys experience this. But when people say things to me, I don't not hear them for 3 weeks. And then it all comes crashing into my brain.
I have heard, and when Brian and I have talked, that sometimes things take a little longer to process what somebody is saying. But not that, like, he doesn't come back to me 3 weeks later and say, I'm sorry, did you want me to do the dishes? Like.
So, yeah, it will take longer to process because I can tell you. So my brother and I'm pretty sure he's on the spectrum too, which I think at this point he'll probably admit. But, like, when my mom would ask us to do something, we would both immediately agree and always turn to each other and say, what did she say? Because neither of us actually processed it. We heard words and we knew she wanted us to do it. So we'd be like, yeah, in a minute. And then realize that neither of us had any idea what she wanted.
Yeah. And that's why
But I mean, it's not 3 weeks later.
Yeah. And
that doesn't make sense.
Minutes, hours, not weeks. Yeah. And sometimes I have to be like, you didn't like respond to what I was saying, because I do worry that I give him like a minute, but then I'm like, did you hear me?
Yeah, because sometimes I don't hear. If my brain is focused on something else, I'm not going to get the audio input.
Yeah. Okay. Processing verbal information, like, I totally understand that is something that autistic people can struggle with. Filing it away and having it come back 3 weeks later thing.
That didn't make sense.
Makes zero sense. I could see having like memories of it just like anybody does.
Sure.
I mean, that's basically how our brains work, that sometimes a little thing will come up and we'll say, it'll like bring up a memory that has nothing to do with it. But I don't.
Yes, me too, Val. Well, I don't.
So Val, yeah, Moira rattles off 5 things to do in a co-op video game, and I forget all of it.
Yeah, not video game specific, but in general, yes, I very much relate to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if I give my husband a list of things, he'll do one of those things, then come back and say, "What was the rest?"
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always making lists of things all the time.
Yeah.
And then I have to remember to look at the list.
You have to look at the list. Well, that's funny because I'm like, I have to make honey-do lists. And that was really hard for me because in our society, we're told like as wives, like, oh, you're going to come home and have a honey-do list because women are so naggy and awful. And we just have, but for us, that's what works because, you know, and I've gotten lazy about it lately, but it's like, okay, you need to do this on your own time and I don't have to nag. And then he has something to reference because otherwise, yeah, you're just talking about the same things over and over. And I can get irritated because I could remember a list of things, but he wouldn't. Okay. Valkyrie says, I've heard Temple Grandin talk about having a photo memory or something to that effect and being able to recall things, but it's not like what the movie portrays at all. Yeah. And some people have that, like even neurotypical people, some of them have like photographic memories.
I'm not one of those people.
Right.
My best friend growing up was like that though. Yeah. Like she did not forget anything ever. Yeah. And I mean, she's dead now, but it was very handy at the time.
I'm pretty good. I remember a lot of stuff. I will say that because I am on medication for my chronic illness, I feel like I have less of that because of like the meds and stuff. But I have a pretty photographic memory in the sense that like I can see things as they were in that moment. So like I can take like a mental snapshot of my desk. And so if Brian comes in and says, where is this? I can tell him exactly where it is on the desk because to me, I have like a mental snapshot of that moment in time. And I think that's something that just some people have because it's how their brain works.
Sure.
And I think it's interesting because it is neurotypical or neurodivergent. You know, it doesn't seem to make a difference.
Sure.
And Moira says, yeah, you do that too. You have snapshots. You don't remember the facts, but remember where the facts are in a book.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can do some of that, but yeah.
Yeah. I think we all have that.
In general, my memory is not spectacular.
Yeah. And
if I forget stuff I don't mean to, please feel free to remind me.
and Brian doesn't mean to either. And that's the thing.
Yeah, I used to make myself chore lists because I knew if I didn't write it down, I'm not going to remember.
I think that's one of those things that nobody is perfect. You know, some people have a good memory. Some people have a bad memory. And just like we would learn to deal with those, we can learn to then deal with how we handle people who are autistic and just because not everybody remembers things and not everybody works this way. You can learn to live with that and work with that within a couple, a partnership, a work relationship, anything. And I think if everyone could communicate honestly just about these things, we could all kind of make it work in a much more, I don't know, beneficial relationship with each other.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, so we talked about that, the 3 weeks later and the filing.
So weird.
Yeah, and that she could look at someone and then she has to quickly look away because she would be totally overwhelmed if she didn't look away in that moment. So basically he references that music takes a snapshot of a person and that has to look away so that she doesn't get overwhelmed by looking at them. So then the park scene is kind of intershot with a little bit of dancing in like small moments. I don't know, this is probably giving her a lot of credit. They're supposed to illustrate how music is seeing these new things in this environment because they do reference that this is outside of her comfort zone, that this is outside of her routine. And Zoo wants to change things, and Ebo says that music may want to change, but she can't change.
Sure.
And that seems really bad, but I guess it's an okay way to describe like that's just who she is and you can't force her to be something that she isn't. So that didn't bother me when I thought about it
and like
for a moment.
Wanting to do something and being able to comfortably do something are two very different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. But then, of course, that was followed by the super hearing.
But we also never see anyone like try to actually ask her what her wants or needs are ever.
Yeah. I guess he asked her about gum while he was restraining her, and that was it.
Yeah. And I think that was more just like, I'm attempting to bribe you, so let me tell you what I'm going to bribe you with.
Yeah. Will this make you happy in the moment kind of thing? And then, of course, while we are in the park, we kind of, like I said, it was intermixed. And then all these kids come like screaming out, running.
Just childing in her general direction.
Big child in her area.
Yeah, which would be too much for me too.
Yeah, which I get. Like, I could understand how that would be too much for people. And music starts to have a meltdown. And so we see this. She starts moaning. She's getting, the grunting, the yelling, and we see the head hitting again, kind of that showing that she's very distressed in this moment and screaming. Of course, now we're in a park and everyone is looking at her because of this behavior. So Zoo looks at Ebo and says, do that thing again. Do the thing again. And he says the greatest line in the movie, which I will read. I'm not climbing on top of a small screaming white girl in the middle of this park. You'll have to do it.
I think that's a fair point.
And I thought, you'll definitely get shot.
That's not going to go well.
If you are in a park on top of a small white girl. So then he kind of walks Zoo through the restraint that he did. I'll see if I can back it up a little bit because that's post. And so he has to calm her down. Zoo has to calm music down. Sorry, this would be.
Yeah.
So then we get this lovely scene. Same idea, but I can't remember what the position is for this one when it's face down.
Oh God, I should know that.
Yeah, I can look it up, but yeah, it's absolutely. So now you've got her laying on top of her sister, calming her down. And then eventually we do get to the point where she is calmed down and, Zoo and Music get back up and she kind of dusts her off. And then Music asks for a snow cone.
Yeah.
It's very quick.
Like she recovers from these meltdowns like instantly.
Yeah.
It's very strange to me.
Yeah, it is very much so.
Like I wouldn't go from like full meltdown to just, cool, I want a snow cone now. The end.
In this image, she's screaming. I mean, she is screaming in this
moment.
And
it's not like so everyone in the park is like now just quiet and staring at them. So I guess the stimulus is somewhat removed because the kids aren't like running at her they weren't like going after her. They were just being kids running around, which can be
near and loud. Yeah. Anybody
a lot of noise, a lot of movement
has been at a park knows that kids are loud.
Yeah.
And can run around near you. Yes. So I understand where the meltdown would come from. I did not understand, however, how she came out of it so fast. Val says, because the traumatic, abusive, dangerous crush technique is so effective. Facepalm.
Yes. You just have to crush them with love and or their windpipe, and then they're fine instantly.
Yeah, and she's a teenager, so she is bigger, but they would do this with kids, like smaller kids too, and adults.
As we've seen, adults can die from stuff like this too.
Yeah. You know what? Real quick, I am going to add that link again to anybody who might be new in the chat, and feel free to follow because we're supposed to say stuff like that. Following is free. And eventually we'd like to be affiliate. But there is a change.org petition to take away the Golden Globes nominations for this movie because of its, ableist portrayal of people with autism. I know, autistic people. Sorry. And I think, it might not do anything, but it sure can't hurt to add the name to it because we do know, at least with TV movies, they do sometimes bow to pressure because people, that's their viewers. Those are the people.
Oscars so white.
Yeah, exactly.
Accurate representation matters.
Yeah. So I had that where we're at the park. Did you have anything else about?
No, just if they could knock it off with the restraints, which I think this is the last time they try to crush her and talk about how great it is. Yeah,
and like I said, Sia said that they were going to remove these from the movie, after it was originally shown, because there was backlash when this came out in January in Australia about this, because it's not legal and it's very dangerous. And obviously I got this well after it was released. I think I got it like this Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And it was still in this. And it's a video on demand. It's not that hard to cut that out.
Yeah.
You know? So I really don't know. Maybe they just don't want to spend another dime on it because they've already lost $16 million at this point. But
fair.
Unless things change drastically and everyone goes to see it. And then, so we talked about the restraining. Ugh. And then we go to the flirting.
Ugh.
They go and they look at each other, dreamy eyes, and tell each other about their past. Because they've known each other for like 3 days.
Something like that.
So, of course, we can tell all of our deep, dark secrets. Maybe
that sounds about right.
A little too far. Here we go. We got dreamy eyes.
He's just wearing a shirt. Must not be wearing a bra. Get one or the other in this movie.
Well, yeah, it's one or the other. So, yeah.
So weird.
You do find out that Kate Hudson was going to kill herself. And that from earlier on when she was talking about being on the fire escape and falling, that she was actually going to go up there to kill herself. I'm sorry. Oh, content warning. I should have done that first about it. But that she doesn't go through. She said she couldn't do it. So she is telling Ebo. And then, of course, at this point you think, oh, maybe he's going to tell her his secret because we know about the HIV because he's from Africa. So, of course, you would put that in. And he does not, but he does tell about his ex-wife. So he was married and his ex-wife left him
for his brother.
Yay. Which isn't that fine, abnormal, actually, you know? Okay. So I guess that's his deep, dark secret, is that his ex-wife is with his brother. And we hear that
and
kind of story.
It's not the brother that died, apparently. There's at least one other brother. Because doesn't she ask?
No.
Or did I ask?
I think you might have.
I was like, wait, isn't he dead?
Not the dead brother. So no zombie marriage, which is super sad. It would have
helped the movie.
It would have. Zombie marriage. That's what we're going to get. Yeah. And then, of course, you know, they're talking about this. And then we get another dance scene.
Of course we do.
And this one scared me.
Oh, you put a content warning in your notes.
I did. And then I didn't. I totally added a content warning in my notes and then didn't read it. I am so sorry. I'm a terrible reader of notes. Let me see if I can find this romper, the baby romper and dramatic eyebrows dance. Was it before or after? I wonder if this is like music trying to deal with like their relationship. That looks
more suggestive than it is.
Yes. Sorry, it was loud. I am not good at finding timestamps. I'm so sorry. Someone needs to.
Oh yeah, this one was extra weird. Like all the music scenes are weird, but
I
didn't really understand. Like I guess it was a dinner scene with giant eyebrows.
Yeah, very dark eyebrows,
which I guess
rompers.
It's better than the diapers of the previous musical number.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if we get a good romper scene, but this was your music scene.
I don't understand what they're trying to do here.
I
think she's sad because she wanted him to stay the night and he didn't because of his secret HIV that she doesn't know
I think
about,
that was
right?
another night. That was later on, which is coming up. Not because it's always another day.
She's pretty thirsty. I think she wants him to all of the nights.
Real thirsty.
I don't think they really talked about it, but I think.
Yeah. And then we go back to Felix. We see Felix was training, Ebo was training with the kids, and Felix, the neighbor boy, was in there, and that he's we follow him and find out that he really wants to dance, that he's interested in dance, not boxing, but he has, this parent who won't allow it, this really mean, awful dad who's like, you have to learn to fight. And his mom leaves him a nice note. Yeah,
I don't know if we mentioned it, but in the movie, it's mentioned that those are his adoptive parents because the dad asks why they bothered to adopt him because he's lazy or something.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still a real stereotypical, like, mean Asian parents. It was, yeah. Adopted or not, I feel like, you know.
Yeah, I don't.
It was not nice. And then, of course, now we're back at the apartment after that.
That sounds right.
There's a lot.
This movie's all over the place.
Yeah. And Ebbo's playing the piano, a song that the grandma, Millie, wrote. And they convince Zoo to sing along with this song.
And she's like, oh, you don't want me to because I'm the best singer in the whole world.
Yeah. I will say, Kate has a good voice. Yeah. She has a good voice for, you know, like, she's not obviously a singer, you know, but she has a fine voice. It's a weird song that was written about music.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It didn't. It was a weird song.
Yeah. And then Ebbo takes out the wedding invitation he received for his brother's wedding to his ex-wife. And Zeus says, music and I'll go with you and we'll, you know, sing a song.
Be your dates.
Yeah, they're going to be his dates. And at this point, we've barely even touched base with music. She's just kind of in the background while they flirt and exist. And
with her weird facial expressions and her severe overbite.
And yeah, like her hand things and occasionally with her little communication device, which is fine.
She's very firmly a side character at this point. She's mostly just a background prop.
Yeah.
Which is where she will stay for the remainder of the movie, I believe.
Yeah, which is why I have less notes, because now
it's not about autism anymore. It's about these two and their love story.
Yeah, and how difficult having music around is, I guess.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's
just terrible.
It's something.
Yeah, so then from there, we get the dark and gloomy scene because is that where they want him to stay. So this is where Zoo wants Ebbo to stay, but he is conflicted because he hasn't told her that he's HIV positive and, you know, dealing with the consequences of that. Now we've got that
wedding invite. I'm gonna sing.
Yep. And there's her. Okay, so this is the dark, dreary, giant pants number.
It's better than diapers, but it's weird. I don't understand why.
I need some giant pants and suspenders.
Okay, well,
like a kid in dad's pants or something.
If we get some Patreon subscribers, we'll buy some giant pants.
Buy me some giant pants. Yeah, we'll have a Patreon. Maybe we'll do like Patreon only hangouts, which I think is pretty much all this is at the moment.
Really?
Awesome.
It really is.
Yeah, so I think they're going dark and dreary. He's trying to decide. There was a big Bible that his brother came out of, like, as a coffin or something. I don't know. But, well, he's trying to decide. Zoo fell asleep, so he decides to go home, which is the apartment next door. Yeah. Was there anything else of note at that point?
I don't think so.
There's really barely anything else of note. Now, the next morning, Zoo is going to her new rich drug client, and she tries to convince George, a property manager, to watch music because, you know, burden, right? She's such a burden. You can't take her anywhere. And he refuses because Zoo, like, was super late last time, like 3 hours late. And so they go up, and Zoo is like, you need to get like all your stuff out now. They're in the elevator and she's like, no, you can't freak out. You need to do it now so you don't freak out when you're with this client. Which
you'll never guess who the client is.
Yeah, we get up there and music starts touching everything. Because isn't that what you would do?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you big into touching?
No, I would be hiding in a corner, not making any noise.
And
there's the monster herself.
The rich client, I wish the client was Keanu Reeves.
Right.
But he wouldn't be caught dead in this, okay?
No.
And he did, like, Ted's Excellent Adventure, whatever that name is.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
That one.
I watched it once. I didn't like it. But I watched it as an adult, and I didn't have any nostalgia to go with it. So.
Oh, yeah. The client is Sia.
Yes, this is what Sia looks like underneath her dumbass wig, if anyone. Yeah, she's very old. That surprised me a lot.
That's why she did the wig thing. Because I think she knew that she wouldn't be able to make it. Because she was already in her, like, mid-30s.
Yeah,
when she first came out.
A decade older than us, I believe.
Yeah, she's in her late 40s right now. So I think that's why she did, like, the whole thing with the wig.
Because, like, when she got famous, that was what, like, her 8th or 10th studio album.
Yeah.
Before anyone had actually heard of her.
Yes, this is Sia. Weird. And Sia wants a ton of drugs, which we referenced earlier.
Yes, this is who all the drugs are for.
Because did she hit her face because she wants people to see her music instead of her? Yes, which I get. I mean, a part of me understands that, especially because we are so driven by how people look and their ages and all of that. So fine.
Especially for women.
Now we're here.
But now that we have this different lens for her.
Yeah. Now I can say you're ugly inside.
Yeah, I would have totally been on board before this movie.
Yeah.
But now I have different feelings.
Do you want to tell them what the drugs are for? Do you remember? It was called Pop Stars Without Borders.
Oh yes, she's gonna give the drugs to all the other pop stars. Like
no, it was
I don't remember.
Haitian kids that were affected by the earthquake.
That's right. Yeah, I was so confused at this point. I think my brain had quit functioning. I was trying to remember
what Haitian earthquake, but then I guess this was older. And
there was a big one because a doctor I used to work with still goes there every year to help out with recovery, and he used to take actual helpful drugs there and provide free medical care.
Right. No, I know, but the Haitian earthquake was well before 2017. So why would you need...
Yeah, it was over a decade ago.
Why would you need pain medication to help the kids with dislocated and broken bones a decade after the earthquake happened? So I was trying to find, was there another one?
You're not giving them party drugs.
Right. No, she asked for Dilaudid, oxytocin. So those are pain...
They are, but you're not giving them to poor kids for free. If you're a pop star buying a bunch of drugs, I don't trust her motives.
Yeah. Well, but that's what she says. Pop Stars Without Borders.
Yes.
So she wants, like 700 or as many meds as Zoo can get in the next day. She will buy. And of course, this is like Zoo's like, I'm going to get to paradise because this is it.
Yes.
I will say that this was the only dance scene that made sense is coming up here. I felt like the next dance scene that happens makes sense.
It was fucking weird.
It was weird, but music sees a rack of clothes and kind of goes in and tries on all these weird avant-garde, like clothing things. And that I could see make sense. I could see that somebody who has some, intellectual disabilities or is autistic and sees like this mass array, and is interested in it might be like, well, what would I look like if I wore that?
So this just reminded me.
So, yeah.
For years and years and years, I've had a recurring dream where I find this closet in my grandma's house and there's a whole bunch of dresses and clothes in there and I go try them all on.
Yeah.
So maybe I have had this dream.
Yeah. So like to me, this one kind of did. Yeah, and Brian referenced it too. This one kind of made sense. It was in its own way. You see all these like beautiful avant-garde pieces because we all know Sia's got like kind of crazy taste and it's her stuff. So you can see it, and you have all these like stylists and different people who are in the dance number. So her coming in and out of it, trying on all these things. There was a lot going on, but it made the most sense.
Yeah.
Like. That I could see a kid like being like, ooh, what would that be like? And then we leave right from there.
I think so.
And at this point, now Zoo is back at her drug dealers. We don't know where music is. She just disappeared.
She does just disappear for a while.
Yeah.
Because I think, did she get dropped off with George because George yells at her for being late later, or is that a different time?
She did, but they don't reference that or like that this is the next day or anything. Okay. I was trying to see. There we go. A good picture
There's not a lot of continuity in this.
Drug dealer, geisha, John Ralphio.
Yeah.
So this is so weird. So this is where, like all drug dealers, he gives her 700 pills with no money.
Yeah.
He just fronts her 700 pills. High dose, like high drugs.
Yeah.
Like these aren't like little ones.
Yeah.
Because like I said, oxytocin, Dilaudid, fentanyl, I think were like the kinds of big pain medication drugs, which are quite expensive. So yeah. So I don't know about any of you, but I think this is the worst drug dealing I've ever seen.
He's real bad.
Yeah.
He's not good at drug dealing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how I was writing ludicrous and it capitalized it for me. In Word.
You spelled it.
I know.
Like the name of the rapper.
I started to and it came up and I was like, oh, I'll just leave it because it was capitalized and I was like, it made me laugh. So I'm just like, whatever.
Thanks to Luda, I don't know how to spell the real word anymore.
No, right?
I just use different words in place because that's his now. He earned it.
Yeah, he did. So, Rudy, who's the drug dealer, asks Zoo, because she is now in his debt, and I was waiting for something else to come up, but to deliver a package. And we find out that it's an HIV drug and that this HIV drug is an emerging market. Because, of course, we live in fucking America where people can't get medications they need to survive.
Yep.
Because, I don't know,
Because
life.
America.
Yeah.
Because all lives matter. That's why.
Unless you're sick. Then fuck you.
Unless you're anything but a rich, straight, white male.
So sad.
Christian.
Anyway, I guess we're not talking about that today. That could be a different one.
That's true.
And anybody want to guess what happens? Anybody want to guess what happens?
What our very good drug dealer girl does.
Anybody want to guess? No, what happens with the HIV meds?
Oh, with that, yeah. Yeah, anybody want to guess who they're for?
Oh no, they're for Ebo. We never saw that coming. Nope. Ebo has HIV. Shocker.
Yeah.
Sorry, you didn't ask for ASMR when you signed into this, but there you go. I'm making Amber uncomfortable too. That's fine.
I just don't understand ASMR. I guess my brain isn't wired for it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either.
I've listened to it, but it doesn't do anything.
I think it either does or doesn't, and the people that it does do something for are the ones who like it.
Sure.
So, so Zoo sees that this med's for Ebo. Oh no, he's got HIV. Yeah, great.
One of the many services we provide.
So many services. You tell me what you want at this point. You get me some followers, I'll do what you want. I have no self-respect left.
That's the spirit.
It's true, okay? I have a teenager. I got a mess in the house. There's nothing left.
Fair.
Every time I try to do something cool, they tell me I am categorically not cool. So, why care?
Fair.
Yeah. So, of course, she sees that Ebo's the one who has HIV, and they have to be dramatic. And
where is he when she delivers these drugs?
Diner?
Yeah, he's like in a diner. So I don't know if really bad drug dealer was like, take this envelope to the diner, the middle booth. That's where you deliver the drugs. Yeah. Like, it's so weird because he's just like sitting alone at a table and she walks in and she's like, she looks at the drugs and looks at him and is like, oh, I guess these drugs are yours.
But he had no name.
Right. Because she didn't get a name or it's very weird.
Yeah.
These people don't know how drugs work. Like, I don't know how drugs work, but I know they don't know.
Yeah. But I feel like in Hollywood, you could probably get somebody with some information. Like, probably. I don't know. I'm sure Sia has a drug dealer that she could ask.
Right. Like, there's got to be people in your circle that know.
Yeah. So anyway, of course.
I don't know about drugs, but I know people that do drugs. Like, I can find those people.
Yeah. And so then, we see that Zoo is walking by her building and George yells at her because she's late to watch music.
And she's like, hold on, I have things to do.
Yeah, and he refuses. So Zoo has to take music, and they're walking through the park, the one where she had the meltdown, the same one. And we, of course, Music sees the snow cones again, and she says she wants a rainbow. So rainbow snow cone. And in the stupidest series of events ever, Zoo puts down her backpack to pay for a snow cone, sees that Music is now eating gum from under a bench, which she has never done or shown any tendency towards.
Well, we know that she likes gum.
We do, but she never lays down.
Yeah, that's true.
Or has an obsession with finding gum. There's nothing like that. So now we see that. Yeah, Music's on there, and then, of course, Zoo rushes over and makes her spit out the gum. And as Zoo is throwing out the gum, of course, Music gets stung by a bee.
That for a while, the bee's just chilling in her hand.
And then
I'm like, why is she holding a bee?
Yeah.
This is a bad plan.
Yeah. But, okay, fine. Maybe, she's got some mental issues. It's fine, or intellectual issues because they're not. Really
it just seemed weirdly shot to me.
It was really weirdly shot. Everything was weird.
That's true. Yeah, everything is.
And of course, Zoo being the put together human she is. That's after maybe. This is her trying to get the bench, having the gum.
She's like, hold on, you don't need the bench gum. I got you a snow cone.
Did she crush it with love? She did with her hand.
She did, and she shows what happens when you use improper restraint.
She kills this bee, and the bee stings her.
No, she doesn't die.
She doesn't die, but she's allergic to bees.
Yes.
And of course, Zoo forgets that she has an EpiPen, which was in her grandma's notes. Like they had talked about her referencing, and she's got it in her fanny pack. Also, gum is biologically inert. You could theoretically eat it. Yeah, as this. Right, she's just eating someone else's gum, and I get that it's like gross, but she's never shown like any tendencies to even lay down. Like, this made zero sense. And why in the world would you take your backpack all the way off and put it on the ground? Like, am I the only one who swings it off the side and does this?
No, because I'm
and I don't have 700 fucking pills in my bag.
Yeah.
I just have a little bit of money and I'm like, someone's going to steal it.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's just something as a girl. You never set your bag down unless you have a friend to watch it. Like
they pulled out, what was that movie where the girl is allergic to bees?
Oh,
and it's really cute with Macaulay Culkin.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, My Girl.
Yeah.
Yep, they did that. So, of course, Zoo has to rush music to, like, an immediate care kind of thing.
Twice says, what's up?
Yep, and let me mess up everything.
Yeah.
And, My Girl. And, of course, leaves her bag because, I don't know about you, I just leave my shit around, too. I mean, it is distressing when you see somebody going into anaphylactic shock. I get it. But it was just, like, of course, we had to have this. And they were supposed to be going to that boxing match. So now we also have that third act conflict that we need coming up for the viewers here. So she rushes her to the emergency room. And then, of course, she's better. And they question, like, why she doesn't have a job. And then she remembers that she left her backpack with all the drugs in the park. And we go back, and Zoo has a mini meltdown and almost gets arrested for pushing over a garbage can.
Yes. Because she is a very bad drug dealer.
The worst.
Very, very bad.
Someone was like, score.
I mean, right?
I think the snow cone man took it and was like, fuck selling snow cones.
Right?
Had free.
He's got his side hustle.
Right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, like...
I mean, I guess it is nice that she prioritized her sister over the drugs.
It is.
Which also makes me think, like, she's not a great addict either.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not a good addict. She's not a good sister.
Right.
Now they're snow cones. You can pay a lot more. When I'm carrying thousands worth of illicit drugs, I always set them down. Yes, reckless, which is why we're still poor. If you would stop losing the drugs, we can make some bank.
That's a good point.
And then I wouldn't have to ASMR for followers. Like some sort of weird sex talk. I'll tell you whatever you want. Send me a bit message. No. Now I'm gonna. Now
I can't wait to listen to the playback.
Notice how it says 0 viewers. Like they're all gonna like run away. So anyway, yeah. So they're supposed to be at this. Could be worse. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we live in this house. Drugs don't pay for it, but whatever. I guess we could be good people. If
you were a little more ambitious, they could.
I know. I would be a better drug dealer than Zoo is.
I think I would too. And I'd be really bad.
Yeah.
But I'd still be better than her.
Yeah. Yeah, but I thought it was so interesting because, like, Zoo gets mad and she pushes over the garbage can in the park, and the cop is in a car and puts on the lights. Like, he's going to arrest her for assaulting a garbage can.
It's very weird.
Like, and then she's like, sorry, and she picks it up, and then he's fine. He turns off his lights and sirens. Because
it's weird.
That's garbage can assault. No, I'm sorry. That's garbage can battery because assault is the threat. Thank you, Twy. So yeah, they go back. We also see though back at the boxing match that they are missing that Felix is up, and Ebo gives him a nice pep talk about how he understands that he's a nice, good kid. He doesn't want to fight, but that he should just do his best, and he's proud of him for showing up. And then it was sweet. Felix goes in.
It's probably the first time anyone's ever told Felix that they were proud of him.
Yeah, and Felix goes in and hugs the other boxer rather than tapping gloves. And of course, this upsets the adopted father. Not a bad.
Did the other boxers start crying?
Yeah,
it was weird.
Why did
I guess that kid needed love crying? Too? I don't know.
Like, he saw the pain, like the boxer pain. It's weird. Yeah. Also, an Asian kid. Yeah. Did you notice that? So of course he would have the same issue, I guess, with a mean father. So that was weird.
Yeah. It's a weird movie, y'all.
Yeah. And then we're back and Zoo's like yelling and throwing stuff in her bedroom because she lost the drugs and she doesn't know what she's going to do. And music is very upset. You can tell that.
She's lucky that there's no consequences with her drug dealer. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
Why does he not give a shit?
He's so bad.
Are we more concerned about the fact that this is a bad drug dealer than the bad autistic girl? Like, it's just
because she's not
good.
She's not in the movie that much anymore.
Yeah, it's mostly
she's just a prop on the side.
Yeah. It's sorry, I got cat fur all over me now.
She's just an instrument to like deliver the love story.
Yeah, it's pathetic at this point. So then, so she's losing it, and music is getting very upset, and you can see that, you know, she is. Zoo does find some alcohol that her grandmother had hidden.
But she didn't really hide it. It was on top of the fridge, and I noticed it when Zoo was
one. This was like the little bottles that were like under the bed or in a box somewhere.
But she finds the big bottle too that
that was at the beginning.
That she had like reached around before.
Yeah.
And then because
she dumped that one out.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she did dump that one out, but these were the little bottles, and she gets drunk because she's an addict. And that's what happens when you're stressed out, even if your drug dealer's the nicest geisha man ever. Don't know how else to describe him.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, so she gets drunk, and then she decides to go over to see Ebo, because we all know we make our best decisions when we're drinking.
Yes. She wants to declare her love, I do believe.
Yes. He says too much for him. They argue. That draws attention of another tenant. Zoo gets physical with this other tenant, and he says he's going to call the police. So then...
And she says, no, I'm on probation. You can't call the cops.
And Ebo's like, you're on probation?
I am. I'm such a bad person.
And I was
Do
like...
me now. Or something. I don't know, whatever she said.
It was like... He reacted to hearing that she was on probation like she had said she had just murdered somebody in front of him.
It was a very... bizarrely dramatic reaction to probation.
Yeah. I was like, you didn't catch that, like, oh, there's her finding the alcohol. You know, for getting a garbage battery. Yes. It's like, wait, but he knows from George that she stole his TV and fell off the fire escape. And so why wouldn't she be on probation if she went to jail for these things?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he reacts to the probation thing.
And clearly she's a drug dealer because she delivered his drugs.
Yeah.
Like, why are you surprised that she's in trouble with the law?
Yeah.
Like,
so
come on.
Dramatic, scene.
This movie's insane.
Yeah. So, of course, she gets mad. She has to run away. And she goes to a bar to drink more because that's what
you do.
Somebody does when they have, obviously, issues, which I understand. If you are an alcoholic and you start drinking again, you want more drinking. It happens. So, but yeah. So and then music does see Zeus stumbling home on the sidewalk after the bar. And we get another dance number. I'm going to say the weirdest dance number. It starts with like her wearing just this heart backpack.
Yeah, just to symbolize when she lost her backpack full of drugs.
I guess to symbolize that heart full of drugs. And then she starts getting chased by like old women. in like brightly colored clothing.
It's weird. It's weird, y'all.
I don't even know. How many drugs did Sia take to think up these dance numbers?
A lot.
Bizarro.
They really are.
And they make no sense. Like, I guess they're supposed to represent the people, like, around, but...
I'm not really sure what's being represented there.
So, then we get to Felix. Oh, wait, the dance number ends when Zoo falls on and hits her face on the concrete steps.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're all just basically, and they used them as music videos, Reckless, Brian. They actually, all of those were music videos that they put on like YouTube and stuff, so you can go watch them, I think. So
I wouldn't, but I guess you could.
Yeah, you can. So we get to Felix. Now, Felix, he's the neighborhood boy, the adopted son, the angry Asian guy. We see him on a page applying for a service dog. And then he hears his the parents fighting in the other room. And he gets up and he sees that, his dad's throwing things. And then the mom like speaks up for like the first time in the movie. And he starts choking her. The dad does. So then did Felix like step up to him? It looked like
it didn't really look like he did though.
It just like he moved, to like get him to stop choking.
Because like I was expecting that he was a content
like
warning for
for abuse.
Yeah,
we're really bad about that. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so he goes over and then. In the strangest thing, I don't even know how this would happen in real life. You have the dad backhand the son, okay? This 130-pound Asian guy backhands his 300-pound son, which is fine, whatever, I'm a big girl. I'm fine with that. But this sends the son careening backwards to fall over and hit his head and die. And I don't know about you, but how much power does your arm need to have to send a big person careening back with just a backhand, not a punch, just...
Yeah, that's like not a thing.
Yeah.
Like you must expect there to be like a banana peel on the floor or something.
Yeah.
But then that would have been something that would make sense, and this movie doesn't do that.
We'll get there in a sec. Yeah, this music, it doesn't make sense. And so Felix hits his head and he
promptly dies.
Dies instantly, I guess. And music is in her room waiting for her magic lights, that come on, that she's, dances to in her dreams or imagination or whatever they want to assume it is. And all she sees are the flashing lights of the ambulance. And because she's not as intellectually disabled as they wanted to portray, she knows what this means. And somehow, without looking out the window, seeing any of this happen, she immediately knows Felix is dead. Did you pick up on that?
I think I was just still trying to figure out how he died.
You were like, this doesn't comprehend. But it doesn't comprehend. It doesn't. Yeah. Like
is his skull made out of tissue paper?
Maybe.
Because it was enough that like it split his head open and like there was blood everywhere, and like I don't
I could like I'm probably as strong as the dad. I mean, he wasn't. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it really didn't make any sense.
I could probably backhand a small child and they wouldn't fall over.
Yeah,
I don't think I need to, but I mean, if we need it for science.
As we've established, I've kicked my kittens off the end of my bed before, and they don't explode. And I'm considerably bigger than that.
Fly is 12 pounds. And when I try to push her with my foot, it's like a boulder. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to guess that his head was probably around 12 pounds. So maybe he has really bad center of gravity or dizzy. I don't know. But he somehow dies. Somehow, miraculously, music just knows that he died. And we get another dance scene. A very Asian-y themed dance scene where it's kind of sweet because Felix gets to dance in this. and her grandma is there. So obviously they are referencing that she understands that her grandmother and Felix are in the same place. So they both died and they're both in the same place. So she understands this just fine, but then she also acts childlike and, you know, like completely intellectually, you know, stunted in a way that you would see from somebody who was maybe born on drugs and had seizures and a lot of brain damage. Yeah. So they can't make up their minds what kind of person she is. And it's very hard for me to go back and forth and feel anything for a character that has nothing consistent.
Right.
Except bad faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really has a lot of those.
Let me see. Is that probably too far? Dance? We can.
A long dance number.
It's a long dance number.
See, there's Grandma and Felix, and
so this is them like riding off
drug dealer to
heaven on some random guy's bike. Maybe he died earlier and we didn't know.
I mean, whoever was giving him the drugs probably killed him because they're potentially a good drug dealer who doesn't just like let you lose thousands of dollars.
Wow,
or tens of thousands
of dollars
at least.
So so we can see here that obviously she's referencing that they're going off somewhere together.
I don't know why they're in a Magic Eye poster.
See, I thought it would be interesting. Maybe they were sponsored by Magic Eye.
Maybe.
Because they're trying to bring it back.
Could be.
You know, because it's going to be like vintage and cool now.
It's been gone long enough that they should come back.
And then kids in the future can be cross-eyed. I could get them to be, but it wasn't worth it in the end.
Yeah. I didn't try very hard because I didn't feel like it would be worth it. But when I tried, it never worked.
You'd have to and then slowly step away. And it'd give you a headache.
Well, I knew the technique, but I couldn't get it.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So anyway, this, I guess, is pinpointing that she knows that they're going off together in heaven.
Wish we were all going off together in heaven instead of watching this movie.
We're still not done.
We're getting there.
We are. We're getting so close.
I promise. Okay. I know we're all up past our bedtimes.
Yeah. Right? So then what happened? What was the next part that we got?
I don't know.
Something No, see, this is an Asian guy.
Oh.
It's not.
That makes sense. Yeah. Look at the hat.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course it's a.
Of course it is.
Let me just. Sometimes my mouse doesn't really want to work.
Oh, I didn't think it was actually the drug dealer.
I know.
Just like it looked like something he'd wear.
Surprises me. Oh, yeah. This is absolutely something he would wear.
Oh, that's what she looks like after.
Oh wait, I can't show that on Twitch. You're not supposed to show blood. Stop showing blood.
Well, her face is busted from those stairs.
Yeah, her face is busted from the stairs when she fell, and Ebo comes in and is like, "What happened?" I fell on the stairs
because of alcohol.
This is why I don't drink. Obviously, you fell off a freaking fire escape. We know why you don't drink.
Yeah.
This is not. It wasn't hard to tell.
Yeah.
So we're here, and we see Music briefly watching her show. That I don't know.
Which I guess is now on in the middle of the night? Or is this the next morning?
The next morning. But every other time she was watching it right before bed. Right. So evidently it's on all day, and Music can just watch it whenever she wants. Poor Tig Notaro. She's like a little slave labor person, making her radicals or whatever they were freaking called.
Yeah.
No.
The pronunciation perplexed me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
I'm trying to think what was next.
I don't know. Some stupid shit. Oh, someone washes her face. A neighbor?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know how to use water.
She couldn't clean herself up.
She stumbles to a neighbor's apartment that I don't think we've seen before or again, right?
No, I thought it was. Oh, this is too far. One thing at a time. I thought he helped her.
I thought it was.
I thought Ebo came in and she apologized, or was it George?
It was some old white dude, wasn't it?
I think it was George.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. And then a miracle happens. Now she gets it, right? She's decided she's going to get her shit together. And she is going to...
She better. There's only 15 minutes left in the movie.
And everything good is going to happen in that. So yeah, she's absolutely going to start being a better sister, and she tries to like learn and be with music more and understanding and all of that. And then she decides she's actually going to get sober and go to, AA meetings and properly get her chips rather than just stealing them. And I'm trying to think. Let's see here. Music.
I was honestly waiting for that.
Yeah. I think like at the end they kind of.
That's probably the ending that's you. Well, like, it does kind of edge that way.
Yeah, it does.
I think in the sequel she'll be NT.
Definitely. By then they will have cracked that code.
Yes.
So yeah. So then she becomes good. She's making money. She somehow convinces the drug dealer to let her work for him still after losing tens of thousands of dollars. He still gives her a job.
He's the worst. He's the worst at drugs. So bad.
Yeah. You would think he was high the way he is.
Well, I'm sure he is, but how has his higher up not killed him?
Yeah.
Because what I understand, that's how drugs work.
Yeah, is that you have to get them, and then there's a cartel or something involved, and they're the ones that you really don't fucking mess with.
Whoever is the main supplier, if you're just like losing tens of thousands of dollars worth of shit, you don't survive. Oh, she forgot her shirt again.
Yeah, we're gonna get the once again no shirt.
Yeah.
So so Zoo gets her shit together and she starts making, money. She finally stops losing her drugs and actually sells them. She's trying to pay attention to music. She's ignoring her, neighbor love next door. So that's probably good. The hormones are settled down.
Good for him.
And then to question the logic of Hollywood. There is no logic.
Yeah.
Especially here. And now we have this is the part where she's going to take her to the People Pound. She doesn't call it that at this point, but that's basically it.
Yes, because she now has enough money to go to Costa Rica, I guess.
Yep.
So it's time to find a home for her problem child.
Yeah. So she found an inpatient facility for music, and she's going to move music in there so she can run off to Costa Rica with her money. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because she's learned all of her lessons. Yeah. And she's a good person now.
Yeah. So she decided to be a good person, and being this now good person, she decided to get rid of her half-sister.
I mean, honestly, music might be better off without her. This chick is nuts.
I'm betting that would be true, but it's also, she's at an age where...
She does it in a very shitty way.
Yeah. Like, oh, you just have to get used to it. Like, she literally just drops her off. Like, she's just gonna, here's your room. And, yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave. And then she sees that music gets upset. Because, what? Why would she get upset? I'm trying to see if there's a good...
Some more overbite for anyone that missed the severe overbite that is maintained throughout the whole movie.
That was actually not too severe of an overbite here. It's usually far worse than this. It's so bad.
We just see a lot of teeth. So many top teeth.
I feel like...
It's like...
so weird.
It's very like Simpsons character. Like there's definitely people
you'd have to try really hard. Like I feel like I have to dislocate my jaw to like do that. It's not natural in any way. So she's decided that now she's this great person. She's gonna leave her sister there, and music gets visibly upset by this.
That's her visibly upset face.
Yep. Isn't that your visibly upset face?
Yes, my top teeth retract slightly and my eyes get red.
Yeah.
Right before let me see. She went to drop her off, she saw didn't she see what's his name going to
because he like leaves after they do. Okay. Yeah, you see Ebo comes out like of the room after they have kind of left to like wait for his taxi.
That's right.
You're reminded that it's his brother's wedding because he's wearing a suit, basically.
Yes.
They kind of tie that back in. Yeah. And then we get to see Ebo's brother's wedding.
Yes. Beautiful. He's the only one that wore a suit to the wedding.
Yeah, they all did wear like more traditional garments that you would wear for a...
Except for her.
Yeah, this is what she... So they're wearing like traditional garments from whatever their culture tribe is from Ghana. You can tell that they have the headdresses and the because they all have different fabrics usually that they wear.
Right.
And then he's giving this speech and Zoo comes in. She's decided to keep music because she just couldn't leave her after all. And she goes into this wedding wearing her sports bra.
This is her wedding sports bra. I gotta see which one of my sports bras is the formal one.
White. I'm gonna say white. Because that way you
black
can
and white
prove,
ones, so,
that it's clean. Yeah, it's super classy.
Yeah, like who doesn't go to weddings with suitcases and a sports bra? And
just walking into this. I'm gonna say Holiday Inn.
Yeah, it's
not nice.
No, it's a very sad room that this wedding is in.
$16 million. And this was their wedding. This was the wedding venue they got. I'm going to say Park would have been better.
I'm going to say because we're doing all the stereotypes, they're poor because they're black.
Oh.
If this was a white wedding,
that.
Then it would be...
So,
is my assumption because they've used every other stereotype for everything in this movie.
So, of course, at this point, she's wearing makeup, which I think makes her look worse. Which
it does.
I was like...
It's weird. I don't like it.
Bad 80s makeup? I don't know. It's like the pink lipstick, like very pink lipstick.
And those are really big earrings to pair with your sports bra.
Those are dressy sports bra, though. It's her dressy wedding sports bra. This is, I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm going to Costa Rica, bitches. I'm wearing my sports bra.
This movie's
if it was a white wedding, Billy Idol would have been involved. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I was like,
oh no. And then they decide to sing a song.
Gee, I wonder what song they'll sing.
They'll sing that song music, that Grandma Millie wrote. And what amazing thing is going to happen? What amazing thing is going to happen? Well, he starts playing and Zoo is getting ready to start singing her song. And
then magically words can come out of Music's mouth for the first time.
Music starts singing.
She knows every word to this song. And they all
I really wish that I could make everyone feel the pain that was this. And of course, I'm just going to say it. All the wedding guests are like, what the
how the fuck? Yeah, I'm like, how is his brother not just like running up there and choking him?
You know why? Because he's like, well, it's his ex-wife.
That's true. Yeah. I was like, all right, I guess I'll give him
away
this.
With it. Yeah. But yeah, she just starts singing every word of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he kind of introduces everybody.
He's like, this is my new family, I guess.
Right? Oh, that was later.
Here's my bra addict girlfriend, and
this is her. Oh, she's watching her sister sing for the first time.
Yes, because she cured her with love.
She did. She finally did it. And then we get to hear, the music is finally vocal because all those numbers of years with her grandma treating her really well and keeping her in a routine and happy did nothing. Oh, but her crazy sister.
It's because the song finally downloaded from the 3 weeks ago, and now she can do it.
She can pull the file. Yeah. Oh man,
she just had to wait for it to upload to her brain.
MP3s can take a while if you're using especially dial-up.
Yeah.
You think she has a dial-up connection?
Yes, that's what happened. We solved the movie puzzle.
We did it. And eventually she will be NT because she'll get it downloaded enough.
That's true.
We're just working on it, one thing at a time.
It'll be in the sequel.
Yeah,
we'll make the sequel.
And then you find that they're home one day and a service dog shows up because Felix had applied for music to get a service dog.
Because aren't service dogs like $10,000? Like the cheap ones?
Mm-hmm. No, but he applied. Usually there's services that help. Like you can apply to get a free one.
Can your neighbor kid apply for you?
I think you can. You can say this person is in need. They have it where you can nominate somebody to get one because they're this is...
It seemed weirdly far-fetched to me.
It was, but I've seen where people do that and it's pretty rare, but they nominate somebody they know who wants to be more independent or whatever. And then I was explaining, because Brian was like, what would a service dog do for her? And I said, I assume it's like an emotional support, like a trained emotional support dog. Would be my guess. That if they sense your anxiety going up, they would come and like relax you and things like that, which is why, you know, it can be a small dog and somebody that can like sit on your lap. And of course, Music loves dogs, as we've established with her single book and all of her, you know,
the dog pictures from the newsstand guy.
Yep, that she puts on her wall. So she's very ecstatic, which is nice. She's happy. And then we get the end dance number. And we are going to be done.
Thank God.
Look,
everyone's gay now.
There's so many colors.
That's Dead Felix, right?
Yeah, that's Felix. That's the guy who got knocked over by his skinny dad, adopted skinny dad.
He's alive now. Yay!
Yep, he's in this very crazy,
exuberant.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It took us longer. Yeah, it did.
Actually, it did. It took an hour longer because
we do. I mean, we get distracted, but also.
But now y'all don't have to watch it.
You don't have to watch it
because we just watched it via clips and commentary.
I know. I'm like, I have to talk enough so that they can't say that this is copyright infringement.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you handle
the thing is like, it's super difficult to describe and talk about the way she acts when you can't like show it.
Yeah,
and it was so extreme. It was just so extreme.
Yeah.
Plus, we did, you know, do some ASMR, which, you know, takes forever. I did. I'm your ASMR host.
That you are.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I know we were pretty in depth.
Sorry we ran over.
Yeah.
I guess if it made you upset enough, you could have left.
So. Yeah. I mean.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions, comments about the movie?
Yeah. Or anybody that you want to raid if you have somebody you like to watch. You want to go back to the moment?
Do you remember where that was?
I think I do. I'm going to try, like the jumping weird.
Why is her face like that?
I understand like you want to show the difference between like what she experiences and like her imagination, but I just don't feel like with autistic people there's not much difference. Yeah, because I don't feel like you feel like a different person. I don't know. Wonder if there are contractual obligations, like how actor agrees to do one movie later for being in a certain movie now. They could be, especially if there was, like, depending upon who made it, which I can't remember right now. Like, if you have, like, a deal with Paramount or something, they can force you to kind of do a movie. Mm. And I don't know if that was the deal. But it's weird that it took, like, 3 years to edit this movie. They filmed it, and then Sia kept changing, like, editing people because they weren't getting her vision right. And they added the musical. So I wonder if there are people who are trying to, like, be like, no. And she just didn't care. Yeah. And no one can make diapers look good, but I kind of want to be one of those bubblegum kids. Like, kind of like...
I mean, better than a diaper kid, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think maybe Dance Moms, she should have stopped with Dance Moms.
Yeah.
You know?
This movie's, oh boy, that's a lot.
It was a hard watch, and I had to watch it more than once.
Oof.
And I didn't enjoy it. I actually, the second time I watched it, I turned the music off and just kept the closed captions on. I just kept the sound down. And I was like, I don't even want to listen to this. I'm just going to.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So there's your your feet foam pit. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do think maybe some of these, is this one by one that's called, are on YouTube if you want to like watch the movie and listen to the song too. You know, I think we're not as many suffocated as deserved, because then they would have gotten sued and they would have stopped filming. But instead we got this.
Yeah.
It's just bad. And I do hope so. Like I said, the change.org thing, if you want to try and sign that and do something, I don't know.
No autistic input? Like, that's not, that ain't it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the constant blinking, and it's just, there's always a lot going on.
And the teeth.
And the teeth.
Why? Why so much teeth?
So, anyway, that is it. I don't know if you guys have anybody that you want to rate. I can look real quick. But, we appreciate you guys going through this very long, painful movie with us. And
thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. We can double it up.
Oh, nice.
Let me just turn that off because we're live picture in picture right now.
Oh, my.
Yep. Where am I?